Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. Force 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
On third down, looking end zone, throws, it's Neighbors. Touchdown.
Well, a lovely Monday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca. For those watching live on Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook and X, Instagram, hello. Thank you, as always, for joining us as it is a crazy time. It's a great time if you are a sports fan. Lots and lots to watch and enjoy in the sporting world because NHL preseason is here. NFL, the craziness is back. We'll go through some of the games. And, hey, if any of you went to PlayAlberta.ca, and just if you said, you know what, I feel like some underdogs are going to win. I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to go with the Giants. And just for fun, I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. Just do a little parlay of those three at PlayAlberta.ca. You would have crushed it. One of them winning, sure. All three of them, not many people were predicting that. And that's the zaniness, the craziness of the National Football League. Of course, our title sponsor is PlayAlberta.ca, so you can get in the game at PlayAlberta.ca. As always, you can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Oh my God, I might have to start taking a few layers off. It is hot in the Ewell studios today. Real hot. Maybe it's just because the sports temperature has been turned up. So much happening. F1, NFL, MLB, the Detroit freaking Tiger. I'm not a Detroit Tiger fan, but I'm riveted by their run. They're going to make the playoffs. Kind of coming out of nowhere. They were brutal in early August. And now what are they, 26-11 in their last 37 games? They've jumped over the Minnesota Twins, and now they control their own destiny heading into the final week of the MLB season. It's amazing. Same with the Mets. If you like playoff, I don't even care if you're a fan of baseball. You like uncertainty. That's what I love about sports is the unpredictability of it. Just when we think we know what's going to happen for some teams and some sports, boom, totally gets thrown by the wayside. So we will touch on that. Did any of you have Jennings in your fantasy football lineup? Anyone? If you did, good to you. I don't know how many did, but what a game by him. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that was a machine. 3 touchdowns. Did he have 11 receptions, 120-some plus yards? Whew. Killer. Killer day. The Oilers preseason game, some of you were there. Some of you watched it. Some of you might have said, nah, I'm good. It was, it's a preseason game. Here's my example. I'm going to ask you as Oilers fans, do you know who led the Edmonton Oilers in points in goals over the last 3 preseasons? Combined, the last 3 preseasons. So in 21, 22, and 23, right? September of those 3 years. Do you know who had the most goals for the heck? How about just pick? There's currently the top 5 goal scorers in the last 3 preseasons for the Edmonton Oilers. Top 5 goal scorers the last 3 preseasons for the Edmonton Oilers. None of them are in either lineup tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Only one of them is still with the organization, and he just had surgery That's Evander Kane. Brendan Perlini. Remember him in 2020 when he was on fire? 5 preseason goals. That's still the most over the last 3 years combined. Dylan Holloway had 4. All 4 of his came 2 years ago in one preseason. Jesse Puljujärvi, who hasn't been here for a few years, still is tied for 3rd with Evander Kane and recently traded to Ottawa, Xavier Bourgault. Those are your top 5 goal scorers over the last 3 preseasons for the Edmonton Oilers, according to Natural Stat Trick. I know some people get really excited about preseason games. Some player plays really well. Oh, man, this guy lit it up and he's going to be awesome. It's a hard evaluation. And I say it's difficult not only for fans or media, but think about it as a coach. So you're now going to look and say, okay, we got this player. He comes into camp and we got an incumbent named Derek Ryan, who we know exactly what we're going to get from Derek Ryan. We know the strengths, we know the weaknesses, we know what we're going to get. Then you've got Noah Philp, Lane Peterson, James Hamlin, all battling for it. And what are they going to play? Maybe someone might get into 6 games, but probably 5. Right? Hamlin played last night. He's not playing either game tonight, so he'll play Wednesday, would be my assertion. Philp, this will be his 2nd game. Peterson will play his 1st. How many more games are going to get in? And in that time, as a coach staff, you have to look and say, okay, does this guy do enough? Now, Noah Philp, you know what? All you have to do in the preseason is get noticed. And he got noticed last night. He got noticed for being very good in faceoffs. He was 9-3. He was actually 9-1 in his first 10. Ended up 9-3, which is still very good. Raphael Lavoie scored a goal. Led the team in shots. Was physical. Now, Raphael Lavoie, he scored his goal on the power play. We all know the Oilers have the best power play in the NHL over the last 5 seasons by a significant margin. He's not going to be on their number 1 power play unit. Heck, he'd be hard-pressed to be on their number 2. But if he's going to make the team, he's got to be good on the forecheck, good on the wall, get pucks out, and then, of course, try to chip in. And tonight, he'll get a great opportunity because him and Podkolzin are going to play with Leon Draisaitl in the home game for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll get to the lineups in a second. But you just think about how difficult it is to try to make that impression right away in a short period of time and do enough to make the coaching staff say, you know what? We're going to say goodbye to a proven veteran player. That's why it's hard. It's also why I think 8 games is a little excessive. Dare to dream, folks. In 26-27. The regular season will be 84 games, and there might be a maximum of 4 to 5 preseason games. Glorious. So we'll see. The good news is after tonight, there's only 5 left. In Winnipeg on Wednesday, then a home to Vancouver. Is it Vancouver or Seattle Saturday, Vancouver Monday, and then they're in Seattle and Vancouver next Wednesday, and I think it's Friday. I don't double check that. It might be Wednesday, Saturday. But either way, that's their end of their preseason. So after tonight, they'll have 5 games. Now, Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. We thought there was a chance Pickard was going to play tonight in one of the games, but they obviously readjusted. Now the final 5 preseason games, I have to think it's going to be mainly Skinner and Pickard. We know that those are the goalies to start, so in theory, it makes sense. Play them. Now, will it be 2.5 each? Will one of them get 4? We'll get 2 periods in a game, and then the other guy comes in to start third? Maybe. We'll see. But I look at the minutes played and games played. Like Skinner, last year, I got to double check, but I thought he played like 2.5 games. So we'll see. But preseason, I don't get too crazy about it. Good for guys like Raphael Lavoie. Good for a guy like Sam Riley. Just to, leave here when he goes back to junior with a little bit of confidence. And it just carries over all season. That's what you want for a young Sam O'Reilly. I'm not looking for much more. Emberson, was really hard to get a read on him. Winnipeg, I'm not sure. Well, Rasmus Kupari will probably be an NHL forward. After that, I'm not sure the Jets have any other ones. So it's really hard to didn't notice him in a bad way at all. So I guess he's sound defensively, but it's kind of hard to get a read on a guy like that. I think Emberson is pretty much locked in for the Oilers' top 5 defense to start the season. That would be my assertion. We'll see what happens. Brown and Stetcher maybe battle and rotate in that 6-7 spot. That'd be my guess, but we'll see. The forward positions, I think there's a little bit of up in the air, like is Podkolzin your third line left winger? Is he your fourth line left winger? Is he better suited with your fourth line center? Maybe, he'll get a chance to play with Henrique at some time. We'll see. So, those are some of the small questions. But, that fourth line center position, Noah Philp, all he did, I think, was keep himself in the conversation, which is all you can expect from a young player. So we'll get your thoughts, anybody who watched it or who went to it, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. The Edmonton Elks, the Bombers are good. The Bombers have went to the Grey Cup 4 years in a row. The Edmonton Elks, while the Bombers were going to the Grey Cup, the Elks were 8-28. Now you throw in this, so they're 8-28. Now what's their record this year? 5-9. So they're 13-20. Yeah, 13-37. They've won 13 of their last 50 CFL games. And people are freaking out like Trey Ford's the reason they lost yesterday. He doesn't have experience. Are we serious right now? Am I taking crazy pills? Is Trey Ford your best option moving forward as a quarterback in the future? That would be my first question to you. Is he your best option? If he isn't, tell me who's better. Do you see any other option who's better, Connor Halley?
Not on this roster. No, I do not.
Do you see as a potential free agent who's better?
Hey, we saw Vernon Adams play very well in the start of the season. Would he be a trade target? Could he be someone who's up for grabs? I don't know how committed BC is with Nathan Rourke, but no, I'm a Trey Ford guy. That's my guy going forward.
So Trey Ford went 10 for 17 yesterday, 131 yards. Not great, not terrible. Had 2 interceptions. The one's not on him. The second one was, yeah, and he had a fumble. So are there some areas that he has to tighten up? 100%. But he's a young quarterback. And when you consider how limited Trey Ford has been in actual game snaps, I am floored by the suggestion from people that Trey Ford should not be the guy to play this weekend against the Blue Bombers. I don't understand it. His last start against BC, he was 6 for 6 for 96 yards. And then he got hurt. But that's pretty good. Ford's 2-1 as a start of this year. Bethel Thompson is 3-8. I don't get it. Prior to the last game, he was 34-43 for 469 yards, 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. So he had some rough goes against the best defense in the league. And now people want to be like, no, you got to go with Bethel Thompson. I think it's incredibly narrow-minded. And I'll tell you, if G. Roy Simon and Jarius Jackson come out and, Bethel Thompson's our starter this weekend. If I'm Larry Thompson, I am immediately looking and saying, I'm not sure these are the guys who I want running the ship, because what the Elks need is a plan for the next many years, not an instant plan. Like, what can we do to try to salvage an 0-7 start and get to the playoffs? They're 3 points behind Saskatchewan, and they're taking on the Bombers again on the road. You can start Bethel Thompson. Sure. It's the same guy you started who went 0-7 and mainly put you in this situation. But sure, go with him. 36-year-old guy. Very little chance is he the answer moving forward. Well, yes, he beat Calgary back-to-back. Well, hey, he beat the worst team in the West back-to-back. So he should be the guy? I have to disagree with that. But that's me. That's where I come out on it. I think this is the easiest decision they can make as an organization. Trey Ford is the future. You're going to give Trey Ford snaps. And you're going to continue to give him snaps because he doesn't have a lot of reps. He needs to play. It's just that simple. I don't like I'm kind of flabbergasted, to be honest, about any suggestions that he shouldn't be playing. I don't get it. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, remember Ty Ratty? He was a preseason superstar from CJ. Ooh, he did have that one really good preseason. And then I think he started okay in the regular season. I got to go back and check. I thought he might have had like 3 or 4 goals early in the year. And then then kind of reality kicked in, and the preseason's very different than the regular season. It just is. So the Elks, Cons, I think they're on the field tomorrow, or is it Wednesday?
Should be tomorrow.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah,
they'll travel to Winnipeg on Friday, so I would think they'd be practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would assume.
Yeah, calling it a recovery day today.
Yes, 100%.
Maybe lift, maybe some film, but
yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know. Where do you come on Trey Ford? Is it a no-brainer?
Yeah. I mean, I think the second you said Trey Ford was your starter after the Calgary win, that was kind of the statement. He's our starter unless he's awful, or if they don't win games and he gets hurt or something like that. You have to roll Trey Ford for the remainder of the season. I'd love to see better ball security for sure. I said it from the start of the year. I think there are plays that McLeod Bethel-Thompson makes that Trey Ford won't, just based on experience and going through the progressions in a quicker manner, because he's played way more football than Trey Ford has. But the upside there is Trey Ford. Your long-term plan has to be Trey Ford. His ability to buy time and make plays, advantage Trey Ford. And I think that's just the way that they have to go. So I'm like you. I don't think there's any question this year. Ruling in the offseason, if you can upgrade the position, you'd be silly not to. But right now, I think that Trey Ford has to be your guy, and he has to go through these games. Like, he's going to have tough games against good teams. That's the way football is. You see it all the time. Quarterbacks get humbled sometimes, and you're probably going to learn from it. That's the best way to not make that mistake again, is to go through it, go through the film, realize why you made that mistake, see what the defense did. And then next time you see that look, you go elsewhere. You do something different with the ball. So I think he's going to learn from it. I think McLeod Bethel-Thompson will help him with that. I think the OC is going to help him with that. And he'll grow from this experience. But 100%, he's my guy going forward here. Only thing's changing that is injury for the most part.
Yeah. Like I look at Trey Ford, all I got to do is look at his career and how many passing attempts he's had. He's had 350 plus attempts. That's it. He's only had 63 pass attempts this year. And it's not like, and people, he's running all the time. No, he isn't. He's carried the ball 14 times this season. That's it. So, right, he's 45 of 63, which is pretty good for accuracy for a young quarterback. Just let him get more comfortable. Let him see tougher defenses. So he wasn't great his first start against the best defense in the league, and people want to just throw him out. Like, that's ridiculous. That's one of the most narrow-minded takes I've heard in a long time. No chance it should happen. Coming up on the show, Wyshynski will be by. There's lots of NHL news, some interesting announcements from them. Sean Brown will be by. Ryan Pike will join us, get Calgary side of things on both of their rosters. We'll get to those in a second. We'll talk a little MLB. Michael Duarte will join us. Shohei Ohtani's having an unreal season. Lots of excitement in baseball right now. Andi Petrillo will be by. Speck and Woodley. Cam Tate. My gosh, we got a loaded Monday edition of the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Raspberry Rapture, the Strawberry Dip, the Ocean's Tide, the Go Mango, or the Berry Bloom. Made with strawberries, raspberries, passion fruit, guava, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Get ready, Edmonton. The country sensation, the Reclaws, are coming to the Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd. It's your chance to see the award-winning duo that's taken the country scene by storm. From Long Live the Night to Feels Like That, the Reclaws are bringing the party to you during Yeggs Rodeo Week. Don't miss out. Pre-sale tickets available from now until September 16th at EdmontonExpoCenter.com. Public on sale begins September 19th at 10 a.m. The Reclaws at Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd.
The Brick semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Hurry in, for the sale it only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
From bench to bench, sport to sport, Elite Promotional Marketing will help take your teamwear to the next level with a wide selection of uniforms, apparel, and promotional products. So when you want your team to look elite, head to ElitePromoMarketing.com.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see JasonGregorPizzaPigout.com.
Then it goes a little something like this.
Well, it's game day. Whew, it's a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. But I'm not sure those two games will be as popular as the two Battle of Alberta preseason games in the NHL. It's close. It's close comparison. So either way, lots of sporting options for you tonight as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And speaking of options, if you haven't tried it, what are you waiting for? The Big Arch is here, and it's big. It's 2 quarter-pound, 100% beef patties. Of course, with the 3 slices of cheddar cheese, lettuce, onions, pickles, and the new tangy and delicious secret sauce, which Connor and I, it's kind of like the Big Mac, but a little bit better. Honestly, I think this is the best burger they've ever had at McDonald's. Now, somebody told me they tried the Big Arch back in like the 1990s and it didn't work. I have to look that up, see if it's true. But we were told that on Friday here on the show. So who knows? Our next guest, I know he likes burgers. So maybe he would remember trying one. But I have no recollection of the Big Arch in the late 90s. But I do have it now, and it's good. As Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. And, he's just off of paternity leave where, as a father, he was already giving barbecue tips, I'm guessing, to his young children. Greg, how you doing?
Did you guys have the Arch Deluxe in Canada? Is that what you're thinking of? Because that was the specialty burger that McDonald's had in the 1990s kind of came and went pretty quickly. I happen to be a rather big fan of it, but they didn't really hit. It was supposed to be like an elevated fancy pants burger in comparison to what they were the rest of the menu.
So the Arch Deluxe. Okay. So it's not the Big Arch. It was just Arch something. Okay. I get it. But I don't recall it. So clearly it couldn't have been that good, Greg. But the Big Arch is really good.
Well, there you go. I mean, well, listen, I'm a big fan of many fly-by-night things. I mean, I still mourn the loss of Crystal Pepsi. So, I mean, it's not as if, everything that comes and goes is not made for me.
Yeah. Well, who knew? Who knew Crystal Pepsi? Wow. Well, you know what? You got me. I wouldn't have thought of Crystal Pepsi. So, hey, before we get to hockey, how was paternity leave? What'd you learn?
It's my second, and I learned that technology has finally advanced to the point where it's gotten easier. Like you press a button and formula comes out of the machine, and you press another button and all the bottles are sanitized, and also this is, my first one is a bit older, so this is also the first child that I've had the ability to play YouTube on my phone for in times of need. So I can be a Luddite in a lot of things, but I am Johnny Technology when it comes to raising a child in 2024.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's important. Now there's a few changes to the NHL. What's the reaction being with? Because I know that I got some more on Amazon Prime this season. For the average fan, and you're in the States on that, how does that go over? Are fans of sports just used to it now because other leagues have been doing this, or is there still a lot of pushback?
No, I mean, I think I think we're used to it now. I mean, I'm obviously working for ESPN, and we have all the games on ESPN Plus for streaming, and so I think from a hockey perspective, it's kind of become the part of the norm. And then obviously, as other leagues have grown and they put their product in different places, I think we've just all become accustomed to trying to watch an NFL game and being like, oh dear, I need to get Peacock or whatever for it. So I feel like it's become a baked in part of the sports experience pretty quickly. I was on the Amazon, the big rollout today for the Amazon stuff was today. And I was seeing the talent there, and I watched the first episode of that Drive to Survive-esque show that they've done for the NHL, and
Face Off, inside the NHL.
Yeah, Face Off, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I'm always sort of a more the merrier type guy when it comes to coverage, when it comes to the number of networks involved, especially like here in the States, where forever we had NBC running a monopoly on the NHL, and I thought it was much more in hockey's best interest to have multiple networks covering the sport, and having Amazon involved now, I think in Canada, is only a good thing to kind of just, push the coverage forward and keep people on their toes.
Yeah. For anybody out there, it's going to start in October, and episode 1 is Rivals, Nylander versus Pasternak. Episode 2 is Eichel and Forsberg. Episode 3 is Learning to Win with Swayman and Matthew Tkachuk. Episode 4 is The Captains with Quinn Hughes, Gabriel Landeskog, Jacob Trouba. Episode 5 is Cup or Bust Part 1, Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman. And then Cup or Bust Part 2, McDavid and Kachuk. Oiler fans might not want to watch the end of that one, but bring back some memories.
No,
but they will like it.
Two episodes of this. The last 2 episodes of the show are what you're here for. I mean, it's going to be Connor like you've never seen him before. It's going to be cameras inside the Oilers' room after they lose. I mean, it's painful and such, but that's why you watch these shows. I'll tell you this about the first episode that I saw. How to say this? I was a fan of the old HBO 24/7 show that the NHL did. And those remain to me the gold standard. Like, give me a big booming voice narrator telling me what I'm looking at. Give me unfettered access behind the scenes. Give me the personalities of these guys in ways I've never seen before. I felt the first episode, if I'm being honest, was pitched a little too far to the casual fan. Like, I know who the Bruins are. I know how the playoffs work, that kind of thing. And maybe you have to do that if the NHL's ultimate aim here is to try to, reach a wider audience. But for me personally, I felt it to be a little slow in those parts. What I loved, though, was you really get inside of David Pasternak's life. You suffered some personal tragedies. And you kind of see Willie Nylander and David Pastrnak in the prism of their friendship over the years. I could care less about all the Toronto Maple Leafs crap on the show. Like, we've seen struggle to finally win in the playoffs with this team on a billion documentaries before. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But the stuff with him and Pastrnak, Nylander in particular, really resonated and kind of gives you a hint of what could come. I just wish it was maybe pitched a little bit more towards the hardcore fan than but that's just personal. Again, it's not the aim of the show necessarily, but that's kind of where I was left on the first episode of this.
Yeah, a lot. Like, I look at Drive to Survive, and I can tell you in my household alone, my wife and son, they watch F1 all the time now. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, Sunday mornings, they're watching. I'm just, what is happening? Which I'm fine with. So, of course, I end up, watching it more. I remember 24/7. My wife she wasn't really a big hockey person. We watched that, and it was the Rangers and the Flyers. And Tortorella was in there, and he's all crusty. And my wife's like, this guy's awesome. And so now she follows wherever he's, because it was his personality. And that's what it's about. It's not necessarily, your diehard fans are going to watch it, but it's trying to show a little bit to the other fan who isn't necessarily a hockey fan, but likes the personality stories. And if they do that, they'll have success, and they'll get people to be like, oh, I liked Willie Nylander's fashion, or I liked his hair. Now I'm going to watch a few games.
I tell me the Drive to Survive thing. Like, I admittedly didn't really watch it.
Okay.
Like, did it present the sport in a different way than you had seen before? Because I think I kind of was going into this hoping that maybe they'd reinvent the wheel a little bit as far as like what we were looking at on the ice, and it's a lot of just the kind of coverage of the NHL and the documentary that we've kind of seen before.
Okay. See, F1, what they do very well, Greg, is they love to build up on the drama, right? So they've got the team managers, right? And they get in, they show a little of the scenes, and they're arguing. Like, I was just seeing the one where they're arguing in Total Wolf, and the Red Bull guys are going at it because he's like, oh, you guys are being unsafe. Like, stuff that you normally wouldn't see, right? Where they probably think. But F1 does, when I watch their broadcasts, they really try to, and I think it's European does it better. Like, they make sports a soap opera more in Europe than we try not to. And honestly, and I think as much as some sports fans don't want to admit, there's a lot who kind of like the drama aspect, right? Like, trade deadline's great because it's drama. Free agency frenzy's drama. If all of a sudden one player says anything controversial, people gravitate towards it. So in this one, if you could ever get an NHL player to say anything controversial, and to me, it requires some good questions and make them feel comfortable and not set them up for it, but just allow them to show their personality, it actually would be better.
Yeah, and rivalry being what it is, like, there's a bit of that in the show. I'm not trying to poo-poo it. I think people are going to really dig it.
Yeah.
It's just that I felt like the people involved, the partnership involved, where the bar was set for me personally on this kind of show. I don't know, man. I have a feeling I'll change my tune once we get to the Connor stuff later, because that's really, that's when the stakes are the highest, a little bit higher than like Leafs Bruins first round. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's going to feel a lot more important. And then you're going to have, obviously the Matthew Tkachuk part of it too. So like, I think I'm going to feel differently once we get to the stuff that really matters in this series. But the first episode was just kind of like a little bit of been there, done that, with the caveat that the Pasternak stuff was really good.
I'm interested about the Hughes Landeskog Trouba one, only because of, Trouba. I hope they get into, like, here's a guy who said, hey, you know what? I'm going to support my wife. I'm staying here. Screw you guys. I kind of like it. Landeskog's got the injuries. Quinn Hughes is in a market where they're, they've never won, and they're trying to build things up. So that one intrigues me. Obviously, I know Oiler fans will watch the Edmonton one. And so my question always is, would a fan of not one of those teams enjoy it? And if they do, then it's successful.
Yeah. I mean, again, I know what I want out of the show, but I'm also somebody who watches like multiple games every night, and the person that they're trying to, it's like when you try to review an animated film, right? Like as a 40-something year old guy, my reaction to it and my wants and needs out of that are not going to be the same as a child, right? And so you have to remember who the audience is and who's it for, and maybe the audience that they're going for does need a little bit more hand holding on who the Leafs are and who the Bruins are than I do. And so maybe that it plays a little differently for them than it does for me.
Yeah. Greg Wyshynski from ESPN joins us. So, Greg, let's get to some hockey. It's hard to put a lot of stock into preseason hockey, but speaking of the Bruins, there's no Swayman yet. At what point do you think it becomes a concern for the Bruins?
The last day of November. I mean, really, they basically, Don Sweeney put it on the table of like, I expect him to be back before the deadline where he can't play this season. And that tells me that they're willing to dig in and play the long game with this guy, which tells you, I think, everything you need to know about the financial gap between the Bruins and their starting goaltender. I just think that what it boils down to for me is the Bruins completely screwed up in negotiating this deal. They ruined their leverage. They should have had this thing buttoned up before they traded Linus Ullmark anywhere. And now you're in a situation where you're either rolling with Joonas Korpisalo as your starting goaltender in a very important season with an aging roster, or you're going to pay Jeremy Swayman what he wants. And so, ultimately, I think Swayman's going to probably win this negotiation and come out pretty good in this deal. But I don't think it's. I mean, from everything we've seen, both sides have their heels dug in pretty good right now.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, the goalie position's the one where we haven't seen anybody get a new bar for the top goaltender. Whereas, forwards keep doing it, defensemen keep doing it, but it's been many years since Carey Price and Bobrovsky signed for $10 million. And so,
yeah.
And Swayman doesn't have a lot of games played. He's got decent numbers. And I find it hard to think he might be the guy. Now, Shesterkin in New York, that might be the one who pushes it over.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the one that's going to be the blockbuster. But in Swayman's case, I mean, it is a situation where they basically anointed him as the guy. I mean, they broke up the tandem. They said, here's the guy. He's always sort of been in that position, even when there was a time when people thought they might be able to pry Swayman away from Boston rather than Ullmark, just because Ullmark had played so well for them. So, I think he knows what position he's in, and I think they know what position they put themselves in regard to negotiating with him. So he'll get his money. And you're right, though. I mean, like when Hellebuck re-signed, it was kind of at not a discount necessarily, but a little bit lower than maybe he would have made it on the open market. But Shurkin's going to be the one that I think is going to be the absolute home run and kind of reset the bar, like you said, for goaltenders.
Do you have 1, 2, 3 playoff teams who made it last year that you don't think are playoff teams this year? And then conversely, other non-playoff teams who you think are getting in?
Yeah, I don't think the Capitals are getting in. I think the rest of the East is a bit better. And in particular, if you want to look for a 1-for-1 swap, it would be utter disaster if the Devils didn't get back in the playoffs this year, given everything that they've done to improve that team and their goaltending. So, obviously I think somebody has to come out for them to come in. And I think the most likely candidate would be the Capitals. I've been really wrestling with the Vegas Golden Knights, who actually have better odds to make the playoffs than a couple of teams in the West, including Los Angeles Kings. And my struggle is that roster is so diminished and so stripped down at the forward position that you really wonder who's scoring goals. And if they do suffer an injury to someone like Mark Stone for a prolonged period of time again, where's the offense coming from? And then you think about the Bruce Cassidy system, and you think about the way the defensemen are the way the defense core is and how deep it is, especially now with a full season of Hanifin.
Yep.
It's hard to imagine them missing, but at the same time, like losing Stevenson and losing Marchessault from a roster that's been bleeding talent now for a couple seasons I'm not surprised people are fading them. Let me put it that way.
Okay. See, I like the Caps off season. What don't you like about their off season? I'm curious.
It's fine. It's Band-Aids. I mean, like you're hoping Dubois becomes something. I think Chikrin is merely visiting Washington. And I think that team played pretty well in front of really good goaltending last year. But ultimately, I'm not in love with the roster that is now a year older in some spots.
Okay.
Some spots that already look pretty old. and again, like I think the biggest problem for me with the Capitals is that some teams that had been, absolutely sputtering last year in the Eastern Conference, I think are going to be a bit better, and someone's going to have to leave the picture.
Okay. Yeah, well, one of those teams, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, their fans have been waiting forever, none longer than Buffalo, to see if they finally take a step. So we shall see. Greg, always good to talk to you, man. We will chat again soon.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That's Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. I'm telling you, Oiler fans. Now, admittedly, I love documentaries. I like these type of shows. I've seen them in other sports. I think they're well done. I actually really enjoyed the road to the Winter Classic or whatever. I can't remember the name of it, but I quite like that. So Face Off inside the NHL. It will be available on Prime Video on October 4th. And as mentioned, for Oiler fans specific, the 5th and 6th episodes are heavily swayed towards the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman. That's Cup or Bust Part 1. Then Cup or Bust Part 2 has McDavid and Matthew Tkachuk. And my understanding is features, unfortunately, the loss for the Edmonton Oilers. But some behind-the-scenes stuff you probably haven't seen. And I think as Oiler fans, I know you're super passionate. You'll probably be interested in checking that out. So the captain's one with Hughes and Landeskog and Jacob Trouba, I'm interested in. I always like all these. And as Greg said, the Pasternak stuff was well done. I agree. Like, how many times can you say, geez, the Leafs got to figure it out? Yeah. Like, there's no way to approach that differently. Their best players have not figured it out in the postseason. All you have to do is go back and look at their points per game in the regular season in the last 4 years, and then look at their points per game in the playoffs. It's pretty simple. That's the issue. Quick break. We'll return. We got the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate coming up. Also, Sean Brown after 3 o'clock and more on a busy Monday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, it's Kevin Carius. Looking for a truck? Looking for a deal? Then head over to St. Albert Dodge. Right now, save up to $20,000 on 2024 Ram 1500 DT model trucks, including the Sport, the Rebel, Laramie, and Limited Line. It's been a long time since we've seen anything like that. And if you need one more reason to buy, remember that the 2024 Ram 1500 models are the last year of production, featuring the legendary Hemi V8. Head up the trail to see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one, a spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program.
It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road. Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
.247. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. Have an awesome day. It is game day. The Oilers taking on the Calgary Flames twice. In fact, if you were unaware, they're going to play one game at 7 o'clock in Edmonton, split squad, and then they're going to play a second game in Calgary at 7 o'clock as well. And the lineups, in case you are curious about them, the Oilers home lineup, this will be their who you're looking at. You will have McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Leon Draisaitl is going to center Podkolzin and Raphael Lavoie, who scored a goal last night in his preseason game. So good for him. Also, look now, not 100% on the third and fourth lines, but I think it's going to be Petrov, Philp, and Perry. And then Clattenburg, Wakely, and Seth Griffith. On the back end, Ekholm and Bouchard, Hoffenmeyer and Kemp, Corcoran and Canuck Liepert will be the other two young defensemen. Rodrigues and Unger will be the goaltenders. Then the road lineup will see Jeff Skinner with Henrique and Arvidsson. And now the second, third, and fourth lines, these are just kind of a best guess for me. O'Reilly centering Kajula and Matt Savoy. You have Lane Peterson with Derek Ryan and Mike Hoffman. And then Gruby with Weatherby and Steffen. Now, I just kind of made an educated guess based on way guys shoot, positions they play, etc. On defense, Dermott Brown, Deneen Stetcher, Gleason, and Wayner. And again,
okay, hands on your buzzer.
Play with Wayner. We'll see. And in goal, you'll have Delia and Day. So Skinner and Pickard, neither one is playing tonight. Some other veterans, Kulak, Nurse, Brown, Connor, that is. Matthias Janmark, Ty Emberson, none of them are playing. So outside of Nurse, I think you're going to see Brown and Janmark and maybe Kulak go to Winnipeg for their game on Wednesday. And Skinner and Pickard, one of them is going to go there. I don't think they're going to wait till the final 4 preseason games to get some action for their 2 goalies. So I would think one of them is going to get the opportunity to get some game reps in Winnipeg. So we'll talk a little bit more about the lineups and the orders. Again, we started off the top of the show. When you consider the last 3 years, the leading goal scorers for the Oilers in the preseason had 5 guys who aren't in the roster right now. I don't get too crazy over preseason. Right, the results. Now McDavid actually does have the most points with 8. Maybe not a surprise, but you look at Perlini and Holloway and Burgo and Puljujarvi, and then Evander Kane has 3 preseason goals. So it's the preseason. Don't go crazy. Enjoy the games if you're going in. Oh, by the way, do you want to go tonight? We got a pair of tickets we will give away in the 3:00 hour. If you're interested in wanting to go see McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard, etc., take on the Calgary Flames. And Huberdeau, Anderson, they will send some NHL guys to Edmonton tonight. Obviously, they have more of their top guys playing at home, similar to the Edmonton Oilers. And Ryan Pike from Flames Nation will join us just after 3:00. Let's get to the 2-minute warning now, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your AC or your furnace. Bundle them together, save even more at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, the 2-minute warning. Tater, of course, longtime journalist in town, has cerebral palsy, is in a wheelchair, has always wanted to be on radio, but due to that, was unable to until now. The wonders of technology, and has his words come to voice here in the 2-minute warning.
Okay, hands on your buzzers or on your handy dandy phone. What could Noah Philp and Paul Maurice have in common? Now, before you enter this broadcast experience, and believe you me, it is an experience, right? Connor Halley. Consider the key word in that query. Could. Got that. They're grandpa. So we'll pose it again, because that's how we roll around here. What could Noah Philp and Florida Panther coach Paul Maurice have in common? Now, let us go back to that saying that is supposed to get us hopeless romantics. Pick me. Through monumental disappointments of monumental consequences. You know the one I mean, right? If you love someone, set them free. If they come back, they're yours. If they don't, they never were. That comes from the writer Richard Bach. Never thought such pristine prose would make it into the realm of the 2-minute warning. Never mind Edmonton Oilers coverage. But stay with me. Work with me here. Paul Maurice. What did he do? December 17th, 2023, after 29 games, Winnipeg Jets, where Maurice was head coach, 2 games over 500, and Maurice, he resigned, handed in the office keys, cell phone, laptop. It was a surprise, big surprise. Nobody knew why. And maybe, just maybe, Maurice himself wasn't entirely sure why he was stepping away. But it was something he felt he had to do. Now, let's say a 2-minute warning hi to Philp, who was in the Edmonton Oilers lineup that beat the Winnipeg Jets. Overtime, preseason, 3-2. Philp stood in the Oilers dressing room, blue gym shorts, no shoes, talking about his last pro hockey game, more than a year ago for the Bakersfield Condors, April 2023. 19 goals, 18 assists, +4. He talked about getting back in game situations and didn't say much, if anything, about his year away from the game. And we're not going digging for answers. But let's point this out. Paul Maurice returned to coaching after taking time off. Florida Panthers, right? Defending Stanley Cup champions. Given the Oilers' warranted optimism going into the season, could Noah Philp enjoy the same success? Your organ donor card. Is it signed? 2-minute warning. Monday, Friday, Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
Well, you know what? If you look at Noah Philp and stepping away for what was the right time for him at a very young age, right? Like, hey, look, I know it's very different, but a lot of people forget Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' development. He actually took a year off of hockey when he was 15, I think, because his family couldn't afford it. Came back, played fine. Now, Noah Philp in the second half of 2023 in Bakersfield really took big strides, got comfortable at the pro game, ended up scoring a lot of goals. I think he finished 3rd on their team with 19 for a guy who wasn't a ton of power play time. And there was lots of talk within the organization that they were expecting Philp to come to camp and compete. Doesn't mean he would have made the team, but they thought he was a legit competitor for that 4th-line center spot. And then he took a year off. And I look at it now, he's not coming off an injury. So, he says he feels great. But it was nice to get hit. He hadn't been hit in a long time. Not that that wasn't that physical of a game last night by any stretch of the imagination, but those are just the things he works in. Like, I look at Philp, he would have to have an unbelievable preseason, I think, to make the team out of camp. But I am a firm believer that Noah Philp is going to play some games for the Edmonton Oilers. I think he's going to play some games before the trade deadline, because when you look at his age, he's not that young of a player. But he's 6'3". He's 200+ pounds. He skates well. He can penalty kill. He checks a lot of boxes that you'd want for a 4th-line center. Like, look at Stenlund last year for Florida. Not a flashy guy. Had really didn't have a boatload of success in the NHL prior to last season. And man, I thought he was outstanding for Florida. Right now, obviously he had, 100 plus some games before last season began. But he came in, and I really liked him in the playoffs for Florida. I thought he was excellent. Now, he didn't produce a lot of points for you, but he dominated the Oilers at times in the faceoff circle. They couldn't win a draw. And that stifled their power play at times. He was great. So Noah Philp, like I try to set the bar at a realistic number. And when I just look at him to Derek Ryan, and you compare a lot of the stuff, if Philp just keeps gaining confidence, I won't be surprised at all if he doesn't start the season in Edmonton, but is getting a recall before Christmas time. No? As long as he continues to progress the way we saw. And I really see no reason not to. Right? I think he got a lot of confidence how he played last night. Liked his game. Now he tries to continue it tonight in Calgary. A little bit tougher competition, which is good. I think that's what they're going to have. And if I'm Chris Knobloch, well, Phil's playing in Calgary and he's playing at home, so it's not like he's in Calgary. But if I was Knobloch, I'd be playing Raphael Lavoie and Philp on the road in Winnipeg on Wednesday. Because they play 2 home games. Get them on the road. Let's see how they handle the travel, all that stuff. I know it's different because it's day of travel, which doesn't happen in the regular season. But also, you're most likely going to see more NHL players in that Jets roster, top to bottom. Definitely way more than they saw yesterday. And so it's like just a slight progression in quality of opposition. And that's good for them. Because we both know, or I should say they both know where they stand in the pecking order. Raphael Lavoie, if he's going to make the team, he's got to find a way to have the coaches believe that he can take some of Corey Perry's games. Because I think Brown, Arvidsson, and Hyman are pretty much locks on the right side, everydayers in your lineup. I think we'd all agree on that. So then there's Corey Perry. At his age, maybe he's not playing all 82 games. So that's Lavoie's job. And he's got to do it so good that they don't carry a 13th forward as a center iceman. Whereas Philp's trying to say, hey, either I beat out Derek Ryan. I don't think they're going to keep Philp here as a 13. Raphael's been in the minors for quite a few years now. Well, he can look and say, hey, I'd rather be here as a pro. I get it. So Lane Peterson's in the same boat. James Hamlin's in the same boat. So all those guys are kind of competing for one spot. Now, the centers have a little bit of an advantage because you could argue that Derek Ryan's a little bit more susceptible right now, maybe, than Corey Perry. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, Ford can run and scramble, but when it comes to the passing game, he doesn't have it yet. From Bad Niv. Well, Bad Niv, my question is, what does he need to have it as a passer? So here's Trey Ford's numbers on the season. 45 completions on 63 attempts. He's completed 71% of his pass attempts. Now, he's only rushed 14 times, so don't give me that he's rushing a ton of times. He has 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And as we saw the last game, that first interception's not on him. He threw it right to his receiver. Receiver didn't catch it. Bounces off his hands. Interception. That's not on the quarterback. His average pass reception is 1.7 yards more than Bethel Thompson. So, Bethel Thompson's completing 67% of his passes. And again, Trey Ford just went up against the best defense in the league. And I think it's unfair to just say, okay, well, Bethel Thompson beat Calgary. He looks better. It's Winnipeg. It's a completely different defense. Look at what they did to every team. They're allowing the fewest points in the league. We've seen veteran quarterbacks struggle mightily against them. Adams was off. Adams was dominating. He was playing great. Goes in there 8 of 17. He had less than 100 passing yards in that game against the Bombers. Then Nathan Rourke got the start the next week. He completed 8 out of 25. Now, I hadn't played in a while, so I'll give him a little bit of a leeway for that. But this Winnipeg defense has made lots of players. It's not like Trey Ford's the only quarterback in the CFL who's struggling against his defense. So, to me, I want to go back to him. I didn't even like when they pulled him. His first interception in the game wasn't on him. So the second interception's not great. I totally get it. You don't want to make that throw. But that's when you got to go right back to the guy and say, hey, we trust you. We believe in you. And that's my concern. I'm still not sold that the coach and the management believe in Trey Ford. And if they don't think he's the answer, then if I'm the owner, I'm going to be interviewing lots of people and tell me, what's your plan? What do you think our plan of attack is for the future? Because if you think your plan of attack is, well, let's do whatever. Let's worry about developing Trey Ford later, just so we can get in the playoffs. Do you honestly think the Elks can win? Do you think they can beat Montreal? Do you think they can beat Winnipeg? Do you think they can beat BC to get to the Grey Cup 3 in a row? Come on. I think you got to be realistic about where they're at. They've won 13 of their last 50 games. Yeah, they had a little bit of a hot streak. Don't get fooled by it. That's just me, though. Quick break. Sean Brown will join us. It's Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Let's get to Sports Update, brought to you by Booster Juice. Check out Booster Juice's secret smoothie menu. Get the Boosters Reward app. Smoothies too delicious to keep under wraps. Download it today and see their secret menu.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Got split squad action in our fine province tonight as the Oilers and Flames meeting at the Ice District and Saddle Dome. Both games getting going just after 7 o'clock. Minnesota Wild forward Matt Boley has been labeled out week to week with a lower body injury. It's putting the 23-year-old status for the regular season opener on October 10th in jeopardy. Week 3 in the NFL season wraps up tonight with a doubleheader. Bills host the Jags at 5:30, then at 6:15. Got the Commanders taking on the Bengals. Major League Baseball light night, just 4 games on the schedule. At 4:40, Phillies host the Cubs, followed by the Jays, Red Sox, Yankees, Mariners, Astros, and the Giant Diamondbacks. Vince Carter will have his jersey retired by the Toronto Raptors. He's going into the Hall of Fame next month. Also going to be retired by a few other teams around the league. It's going to go down November 2nd when the Raptors host the Kings, where Vince Carter played 2 seasons as well. And in the Canadian Hockey League, 5 Western Hockey League clubs, including the Wheat Kings, Rockets, Hurricanes, Tigers, and Chiefs, have officially submitted their formal bids to host the 2026 Memorial Cup. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host and former NHLer Sean Brown, Brian Pike of Flames Nation, and we'll talk some LA Dodgers with Michael Duarte. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Berry Bloom, the Go Mango, the Ocean's Tide, the Strawberry Dip, or the Raspberry Rapture, made with raspberries, cranberries, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulgent unlimited pizza while raising some dough for kids. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best oodle noodle dance. Your best time of day is oodle noodle time.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Look online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
I've never met a girl who makes me feel the way that you do. You're alright. Whenever I'm asked who makes my brain feel, I say that you do. You're so free. Look out, baby, 'cause here I come. And I'm free.
Welcome back. Monday afternoon, September 23rd. Hope you're having a great day. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game if you want a doubleheader of Monday Night Football. You do that. Bengals, only a 7-point favorite over Washington, that defense. Whew. Joe Burrow getting Higgins back. Cincinnati, it's past week 2 where they suck. It'll be week 3. Bengals with the 7 points. Whew, I like that at PlayAlberta.ca. Also, the Lotto Max tomorrow will be $27 million. 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox, 833-401-1440. One other quick thing, then we're going to welcome in Sean Brown. Big shout out to Jake and Vern, who organized the Beaumont Chiefs 40th anniversary weekend on Friday night. It was great. I'm sure it put a ton of work to get that many. There's lots of alumni playing in the game, and then even more who showed up afterwards. And, quite a few games were played. It was lots of fun. Got to meet some new people that obviously were a lot younger than I was. But also lots of guys that I played with. So loads of fun. Hope everybody had a good time. And the Chiefs then won their home opener 8-4. And now won on Sunday. I think they're 3-0. Good start for them in the old jungle. I like it. As we welcome in Sean Brown, NHL alumni, AHL alumni, OHL alumni, AJHL coach alumni. Got a lot of alumni. Brownie, how you doing?
Very good. Yeah. I seen that post on your Facebook page there, so I had to. So you play junior?
Yeah.
Like, what is that, junior B?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your game?
Oh, I was.
So if I was to come and watch,
I was an offensive player.
Really?
Yeah.
Forward?
Defense. Well, yeah. Although I did, I had to play defense my first year, I think, of junior. Having never played defense in my life, there was
And you waited till junior.
Well, it wasn't my choice. we had multiple guys named Jason on the team, and one of them, Duclos, he would play forward or defense, and he was kind of like the swing guy.
Yeah.
So guys were hurt or whatever. So our assistant coach, they're sitting there talking about who should play where in the pregame meeting. And I don't know, some guys were suspended. I can't remember what happened, but there was we had 10 forwards and 4 defense, so they're just going to move a forward back to defense and make it 9 and 5. And so the coach like, well, just move Jason back, assuming Duclos. Coach like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So he comes in and announces the lines, and I'm not even in the top 3 lines. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like second on the team in scoring. And then they announce the defense. He's like, yeah, and Gregor, you're playing defense. And so when he left the room, like, I thought it was a joke. And I'm like, did he say I'm playing defense? I never played defense my entire life. Yeah. So I ended up playing defense.
So what'd you think? What do you think? Forward?
Well, it taught me a whole new, I ended up playing there the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated when they dumped and chased, because now you're getting hit. So you're not like, it's different when you're the forward, totally different.
Yeah.
But when you got the puck and you were skating up ice, I saw the ice completely different.
Yeah.
Because as a forward, you don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't you feel more relaxed?
Well, there were times, where you didn't have to exert as much energy on defense all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So it helped me as a forward too, because then I kind of understood where defense goes. But trust me, like once that coach was gone, I was like, I'm going back playing forward. Like, are you kidding me? So, but it's good. I always think people should learn different positions.
Yeah.
Like I like that, I got to play a lot. So that part was good. Our team wasn't very good, which illustrates why I was playing defense. So, but it was, it was fun.
Oh, cool. I seen that. So what, how'd you guys do as a team? Did you guys win anything?
We won.
Is that team still there? Is the junior B team still there?
Yeah, I just said they're 3-0.
Oh, my bad.
And, so they picked the team, they did a draft, and you had guys from all different eras, whatever. So we went 3-0 in the round robin, but then we lost in the first semifinal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we clearly peaked at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So we had the oldest team though. We had a lot of older guys, and I think by the 4th game, it was there was a little bit of less energy.
So who still got it out of the reunion? Anyone?
No, there's a few guys that guys who could really. I was never a great skater, so I'm like, my skating is probably better now than it was when I played, because I've taken some skating stuff with perfect skating lately. But
you're taking it.
Well, I do it with the team. Why not? Because when we run it, I'm like dude, we never learned inside edge and outside edge when I was playing hockey in the early 90s.
Yeah.
It was never taught to us at all. So I try to learn that now.
Yeah.
And once you do it, it makes such a difference coming out of turns. Like and accelerating, like doing crossovers rather than just going a straight line.
Yeah.
Right. How you McDavid, like there's so many different things that you teach now. Yeah. So I just do it in practice all the time. And I think I'm a
so you hop in a line with the kids.
Yeah. Or when they're not there, I have to demonstrate it. But I just feel like now I do it. And it's like, oh God, this actually, like it just shows I was never that good of a skater to begin with. But so it's easy to improve. Like it's hard to improve as if you're a really good skater.
Yeah.
When you're an average skater, you got more room to improve.
Yeah.
So, the old guys are about the same. I don't know if, it's hard to say because there's a few guys that have a few extra LBs. So
yeah. That's why I asked that. So as a coach, do you not feel like I help out with Strathcona minor hockey, and I always feel like, especially with young coaches, right? They want to hop in the drills. And my thing is like, hey, you know what? Like you've had your time, for the most part.
I never do the drill unless they need an extra passing person, but I don't take a kid's rep.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm pitching you in line.
You're an idiot. I'm running the practice, you donkey.
Well, you said he's running it and you're doing that. You're getting better and you're practicing.
Well, that's just because I'm on the side doing what he's doing.
Okay.
I'm like, so when the kids are going to the other end of the ice with him, I'm at this end being like, let's try this inside out edge thing. Oh my God, this actually works. Yeah, no, I'm not in there. Hey, Tommy, are you 10 years old? Screw you, Tommy. I need to help myself out here. Like, no chance.
Okay.
I do skate with our team when I do our cardio skate though. Because I challenge the kids to skate as hard as they can, so then you skate with them.
So they've been working hard for 45 minutes. You come in for 50 minutes feeling fresh and good and you beat them?
No, it's not about beating them. It's just about skating with them to encourage them that they're, as they get tired. So but it's this year, first year, U13. So if I can't outskate the 10, 11 year olds, 11 and 12 year olds, then I still think I should retire. Like this might be the last year.
I was going to say they're getting pretty good at that.
Oh no, they're getting pretty good. I think if this will probably be the last year where I could outskate most of them. I think.
Yeah.
So, which is fine.
Yeah.
Right. I'm on the other side. I'm pretty happy with my cardio at this stage of my life. So for the average guy. So
It's funny. I play with my son and his friends in the summertime, and I used to be picked first in the games. And now it's like, well, who wants Sean? That's how bad it is now. It's just, what do you do when you realize now what kind of shape you're in and how fast and skilled these kids are? And when you don't practice every day and it's not your priority, it's amazing how quick you lose.
Well, see, that's the thing I find you lose is just the stick handling in tight areas.
Yeah.
That's like to skate in a straight line and give an effort. That part's no problem.
Mhm.
It's when all of a sudden, you're in traffic and you're trying to dangle through a few guys, you got no chance, right? Like the puck's a grenade and you're looking, it must be my stick. No, it's not my stick. It's my cement
and timing.
cinder block hands.
Absolutely.
Right now, where if you don't feel the puck, because when I'm coaching, I'm not out there stick handling all the time. Like I have my skating part's fine, but maybe you do a few shots every now and then on your goalie, but even then, it's not like I'm shooting hard on a U11 goalie.
Yeah.
So, but it's more, I find stick handling is the hardest thing to get back.
Yeah.
Good at it. Like, can anybody stick handle just skating the puck up the ice with no one around them? Of course. Yeah. But when you all of a sudden got to go through traffic, stick handling, I find that is the hardest thing to get back.
Yeah. But you can also see, you were out at my house and we were working with Beckett there. Like, it doesn't take long to get it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, like for these kids that feel like you need to spend hours and hours, you don't, it's 15, 20 minutes a day. Right. But the biggest thing is the commitment to doing it and just how much a little bit makes a difference. And when you get to our age, how much when you don't do it, how much it just goes away.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So preseason game last night, Brownie, you were there and I've covered preseason now for 20 years. That might have been the one preseason game with the least amount of proven NHL players on both teams. Cause usually the home team will dress more. But they didn't because they've got so many games here in a short period of time. I understand why they did it. So what do you think you can take out of that if you were evaluating guys like Raphael Lavoie, Noah Philp, et cetera? Guys who are, trying to earn a spot on that fourth line.
Yeah, it wasn't overly exciting. But I think what you're looking at, I guess from my point of view is the fact that when you're bringing in guys or you've drafted guys, are they playing the way in which they got drafted, or the reason why they're actually there, right? I remember going to camp back in the day with Glenn Sather, and we used to have a meeting, the night before. And one of the things that he would say was singers sing, dancers dance, like do what you're there for.
Okay.
Right. So when I watched that game, I was kind of curious just to see, for the first, I haven't been following them all that much. And I just thought it would be a nice opportunity to kind of see where and what these players are all about. And there was definitely some players that I thought had a true identity and a skill set that kind of, you could see why they were drafted or why they were there. And then there was a couple of guys that just kind of blended in. So I think if anything, as an organization, you're evaluating them on, are they the player that you think they are?
Yeah. Well, and that's fair, right? I think and if you're those players, like if you're Noah Philp, you're like, okay, you say singers sing, dancers dance, checkers check, score, whatever it is. Noah Philp, 9 of 12 in the faceoff circle. Check mark.
Yeah.
Right. Create a few scoring chances. Check mark. Don't give up anything defensively. Check mark. So it's not so much the talent he's playing against. I think it'll increase a little. Like the Flames have a little bit more tonight. They've got some first pair defensemen, some first line forwards. Now he might not get out against them. We'll see. But good for him. Raphael Lavoie led the team in shots. He's a shooter. Scored a goal. Good. Now he's not going to be a power play guy regularly here. We all know that. But it shows you that, hey, he can do it. If you get some injuries, there's a guy who knows how to shoot the puck. He's very comfortable shooting. He scores from distance. That's pretty typical for him. It was more so I was watching him on the forecheck, and I talked to Raphael about it. He goes, like, Knobloch and him, they had a discussion about what we expect from you. Like, you got to go into the coach's office. What do you need from me to make this team? Right? I think you have to take control of your own career. We've had coaches on here. They love it when a player comes up and says, Coach, what do you need to see from me? Because now you've got a clear picture. So if Raphael Lavoie isn't forechecking hard, isn't finishing checks, isn't getting the puck out off the wall, guess what? He has no one to blame but himself. So if he does that, it doesn't guarantee he makes the team, but at least it puts himself in a legit position, not only to make Edmonton, but now, Brownie, the fact that it says NHL games played beside his name, when he goes on waivers, there's a different, this guy's played in the NHL compared to career AHL.
No, I think that's one of the best things that has changed about the game since, I've played is, communication was good, but communication now is so much better. I mean, these players, like you said, that conversation with the coach and the open door policy, not that coaches didn't have that when I played, but it's, coaches almost look for you now. It's almost, it's expected that there's going to be, there isn't going to be a blurry message or a misunderstanding of why you're there or what you're expected to do. There's also more coaches and more teaching now, and resources than there were back when I played. But, Raphael Lavoie there, like that's perfect, for him to go into a training camp and to have that conversation and to be clear. And that's what makes a good coach in Knobloch is just, hey, you want to make this team. This is exactly what I need to see from you. It doesn't guarantee you, like you said, but this is what you have to do. I mean, as an athlete, now it's on you. Everything's on your plate now. It's up to you to either, deliver or not. And it's funny that you say that because I was watching him as well, and I would probably assume that he was probably a big skilled player making plays and putting up numbers throughout his career. And I watched him and he was making, to me, it seemed like a real effort to be physical, to finish his check and to deliver on what he needs to do, to make this team, because he has to. It's not about that goal he scored. It's not about the power play goal. It's, for him to make it, he's got to be a big physical presence, hard to play against, keep pucks alive, get in on the forecheck, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, I mean, I seen a guy that was trying to do it. I'll ask you, like, did he look comfortable doing it? I'll give him effort for doing it. I don't know. Like, you're asking guys to do some things that just sometimes that's just not what you are. And he looked like to me like a guy that was like giving her the old, I'm doing my best. I don't know how comfortable he looked.
Well, you'll get more comfortable the more you do it, 100%. But you're totally valid. And I think some people overlook why it's difficult. So when I see guys who are first-round picks, now some first-round picks, like an Ethan Morrow, when he played, he was like a grinder first-round pick. He scored 40 goals in junior, but he was still a guy who was physical and robust. So when he went to the third and fourth line, it wasn't a major change to his game. He said, he goes, man, I knew right away I wasn't going to be a scorer at the NHL level. So it was easier for him. Raphael Lavoie can shoot better than most NHL guys. But to be a top 6 guy in the NHL is so hard, right? Like, it's really hard. There's not many guys who do it consistently. So you look and say you're 6'3", 6'4". And the thing was, Lavoie had a bite to his game. Not so much running guys, but he would get in on scrums because he was kind of a man against boys in junior, right? Like, you're bigger than you play. I remember even when he was 17 though, Brownie, when you're 17 playing against 19, 20-year-olds, it's still a little bit, and he had a little bite to his game. So
absolutely, yeah.
I think he can do it. I think it's in him, but he needs to, it's consistency in a level. So he needs to be consistently more assertive. And I thought he looked okay. There was one time where I noticed you could see he kind of got caught that in-between step, which is the hardest thing to learn, is to deliver body checks good and consistent isn't as easy as people think, especially if you're not used to it. So I thought he got maybe caught in the, do I keep my feet moving, or you get in that striding zone? So, and the pace of the game wasn't that fast either. So I'm cognizant of that. And I wonder how much of a factor that plays. So we'll get into that. Calgary's going to have some different rosters. We'll get to that next. Gregor Brown will go to Calgary. Ryan Pike will join us next in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg. Worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
You'll hear it around town. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. But at Wolf GMC Buick, we're putting our own spin on it. Not only do we have over 200 GMCs available, we also want you to upgrade your ride with 0% financing up to 72 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra Elevation. Oh, and how about at least $10,000 cash back in your pocket on in-stock heavy-duty trucks? Yep, it's Canada-wide clearance, and you'll only get these deals at Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road, just seconds from the Anthony Henday.
Ready to tackle your toughest tasks? Edmonton Kubota has you covered with the all-new M8 Series tractor with powerful 181 and 201 horsepower engines, Cummins power, and loader readiness. It's built to handle any challenge. And now, for a limited time, get a free 4-year extended warranty when you drive off with an M8 Series tractor. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Visit Edmonton Kubota today and power up your productivity. Edmonton Kubota, where power meets performance.
Game day continues on. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown. We got a good debate. We're going to do it on air coming up in the next segment. I like it. Good discussion, I should say. I agree with you. I'm not sure it's plausible, but we'll get to that coming up in about 20 minutes time. First, though, we're going to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. And hey, if you are in the process of discussing if you want solar for your home or your business, Action Electrical can answer all your questions. Get you the best deals. Go to actionelectrical.net. As we are joined by a longtime beat reporter for Flames Nation, Ryan Pike, joined us. And Piker, the Flames victorious last night against Seattle. So similar to Edmonton. Now we'll have the split squad game tonight. The roster that's coming to Edmonton, it has Huberdeau, Pospisil, Mantha, Anderson's here, Tenorti. Is there anybody else on tonight's roster that you think has a legitimate shot or is clearly in the mix to make the Flames regular season lineup?
To make the Flames, I'd say you don't want to forget about Matt Coronado, who made the team out of camp last year, and sort of, he was sort of the victim of circumstance last year. As you might recall, the Flames were, to be generous, not particularly good in October. And for a 20-year-old rookie trying to find his footing in the NHL, he wasn't really a priority at that point. So he sort of bounced around and then ended up sliding down to the American League, where he had a heck of a season. And by the time he came back up in March and April, he was a much more complete player than he was in October. So I'd say Coronado is one of the guys to keep an eye on. And a guy the Flames got in the Vancouver trade with for the Elias Lindholm, Hunter Brzustevich, will be playing on the pairing behind Anderson and Tenorti. But Brzustevich was really, really good against the Kraken on Sunday. And he's been singled out by head coach Ryan Huska as one of the young guys that's really done a good job sort of asserting himself and sort of making a name for himself early on in camp. So I'd say Coronado is probably the closest to an everyday NHLer of the rest of the group. But I wouldn't sleep on Brzustevich. Brzustevich might surprise people this year.
Okay. Looking at the, overall for this, the split squad, it's kind of what you'd expect. But is Pospisil a guy, like, where do you see him fitting in the lineup? Like with Math and Huberdeau, is that a realistic option for him?
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing they really like about Pospisil is a lot of the things the Flames liked about Matthew Tkachuk early in his career, where Pospisil, Brad Treliving used to have a one-liner where he said, Pospisil could find trouble in church. He's the kind of player where he just loves using his size, mucking around. He's had some concussion issues in the past, so he probably shouldn't fight, and I think that sort of limits how effective he can be as an agitator. But he's so big, and he's got some real, surprisingly good skates for a guy his size, and really good hands. And when he was healthy in the American League, the Flames development team and their scouts looked at his overall package and went, golly, if he could figure out a way to be consistent, he could be really dangerous. And last year, he stayed healthy and he found a way to be consistent. And he was very quietly one of the team's most impactful players and one of their most important players, because kind of like a Matthew Tkachuk, on nights, a sleepy Wednesday night against Columbus or Nashville or Minnesota, Martin Pospisil will find a way to drag his team kicking and screaming into the fight. And, I'd say a night like tonight, a potentially sleepy Monday night split squad game between Calgary and Edmonton, I wouldn't rule out Pospisil doing something to draw the ire of the team in blue and orange, because that's just how he's wired.
Ryan, who in your mind has to have a good camp?
Oh, goodness, there's a few guys. I'd single out Jacob Pelche, if only because, he was penciled in to make the team last year. And then he blew out his shoulder, in a pretty nasty hit by Marian Studenic against Seattle early in the preseason. And his entire year is pretty much thrown into a loop then. Pelche is one of these kids where he's not huge, but he's so toolsy. He kind of reminds me of Paul Byron or Michael Frolik, where you could sort of put him anywhere in a lineup and he'll give you quality minutes. And you might not build a line around Jacob Pelche, but when Jacob Pelche's on his game, he can really elevate the other two guys he's playing with, because he can do a lot of different things. And last year, he just didn't have his mojo, his confidence, his swagger, whatever you want to call it. I think he was a little bit rattled by the hit. Then when he came back, he had a couple of good games, and then he nearly got injured again against the Rangers from a big hit by Jacob Trouba. So I'd say Pelche is one of those guys that, he needs waivers this year. So, he's sort of on the bubble and maybe he can grab a spot. But, he's one of those guys where if you look at the Flames overall depth chart, if you told people 2 years ago that, Pelche would be lapped by Connor Zary and by Martin Pospisil figuring their games out right away and grabbing spots, I think people would be a bit surprised. But now, if you look at the Flames depth chart, Nat Coronado is pushing for a spot. Sam Honzik, really wants to have a big camp after, he was injured a bit last year, but he's a guy who's really pushing. And if you look up and down the Flames lineup, they have some guys from, the last couple of drafts who might be knocking on the door in a year. So if you're Pelche, the time to grab hold of an NHL spot might be this year. And so I put him in that group. And I'd also point out one or two of the defensemen. I'd say, Braden Pahal, I don't think he's playing in either town tonight, but he was really, really good against Seattle. He was a waiver claim by the Flames last year from Vegas. And, he's, good Western Canadian kid. He doesn't have amazing hands or finesse or anything, but he's a really good depth defender. And he's one of those guys that just absolutely loves throwing hits. Ryan Huska used to joke that he hits to hurt. He's one of those guys that loves separating guys from the puck. And the Flames don't really have a lot of guys that can do that. And so if you're in a situation where, you're the Flames and you're on paper probably going to have a few long nights this year, and you have a group that's young and getting younger, having guys like Tahal who can basically make your opponents think twice about getting too fancy around the net or in the corners. That's a really valuable thing, and is one of the things that Pahal does that not a lot of other guys in the system does. So, but if you're Pahal, you also have Tyson Barrie in camp, who's also a right shot D-man, who probably would also be a guy who falls on the third pairing. And so suddenly there's not a lot of room at the end. So, I'd say Pahal's another one of those guys that might want to grab hold of a spot this year, because there might not be a spot for him to grab in a year.
Ryan Pike joins us from Flames Nation. A little preview: Oilers and Flames tonight. Split squad, one game in Edmonton, 7:00. You can watch that if you're there, or Oilers Plus, and then the other one is in Calgary, and you can watch that on CalgaryFlames.com if you're so interested in watching the games. Now, what about Miro Manoff? I know he's playing in Calgary tonight on the back end with Uyghur. How's he looked? What do you see for him moving forward in this organization?
Oh goodness, he's a converted winger, and he's got great offensive instincts. Defensively, he's nothing to write home about, and I think that's why the Flames really like having Mackenzie Uyghur on his flank, because Uyghur can do so much that I think it allows whoever he's playing with to really just relax and do their thing. And, they played about, I think probably 12 or 15 games together last year after Mironov arrived, and they figured out some chemistry, and it allowed the Flames to use Mironov a bit power play. It allowed them to sort of free up other guys from other usages. So if you're, Mironov, he had really good possession numbers last year, but he was also used sort of sparingly in Vegas. And when he got to Calgary, he was given the opportunity to play with Uyghur, which means you have somebody really talented watching your back. So I'm really curious what Mironov could be away from Uyghur. But, at the very least, when he's been paired with Uyghur, he's been pretty effective. And it allows the Flames a little bit of an extra oomph offensively and an extra layer of attack potentially when they have the puck.
Ryan, what's your thoughts on how, I know it's early, but how's Dustin Wolf looked, and how do you see this season playing out for him as far as splitting the net?
Oh goodness, I think this is going to be a story we follow all year, because I don't think it's going to be settled by October 9th. I think we're probably going to see a mixture of Wolf and Dan Vildar and Devin Cooley. And, I think Wolf has done pretty much everything that can possibly be asked of a goaltender in the system. He won back-to-back Western League Goalie of the Year awards, won back-to-back American League Goalie of the Year awards. He was the most valuable player 2 years ago in the American League. And last year, when, constantly the Flames had injury issues with primarily Jacob Markstrom being unavailable for chunks of time, Dustin Wolf ended up playing a third of the year in the NHL as a short-term call-up every time. He only really got a regular run of games late in the season. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when he finally got some normalcy in the NHL and some consistency, he rattled up a bunch of really good games, and to the point where I believe he won his final 4 appearances of the year. So I think for Wolf, he's somebody who, he's done everything he can at the American League level, and I think he's hungry. And I think, the nice thing I think for him is, if you're a smaller goalie coming into the NHL, you're going to have, the usual titters and eye rolls about your size. But the nice thing for him is he's surrounded by guys who played with him in Stockton and played with him with the Wranglers. And so, if you're going into that room and you have any doubts about how good your tiny goalie is, you have probably a dozen going on 20 guys now in that room who can tell you, yeah, don't worry about it. He's legit. And having confidence in your goalie and vice versa does a ton for a team. And, case in point, last night in Seattle, we saw 30 odd shots thrown on Wolf, but he made all the saves he needed to make. They didn't get their first goal until they were down 4-0. And it allowed the Flames to really just do their thing and attack. And they didn't have to put on a defensive shell around their goalie, because they had some faith in his ability to make the first and second save and get them out of the zone. So I'm really curious how they manage it, because I mentioned waivers in the case of Jacob Pelche. Dustin Wolf's waiver exempt this year. So, if you're worried about losing, potentially Devin Cooley on waivers, you could tuck away Wolf down in the minor leagues. But I think Wolf is well aware of his situation, and I think he's pretty motivated to make it as difficult as humanly possible for Craig Conroy and the Flames to send him down the hall.
Yeah, Wolf's fascinating to me. He's in a situation where it's hard to say there's much more for him to prove at the American League level. The American League level to the NHL is a significant jump, especially when, you're facing top 6 shooters in the AHL compared to top 6 shooters in the NHL. Like, it is a massive difference. What's your expectations on, because the more a goalie plays, the the more film teams get. And then everybody has a weakness. It's a matter of, can you expose that weakness or not? And we've seen, like, heck, Colorado exposed Hellebuck, for goodness sakes. And he's one of the best goalies in the world. So what's your expectation, Ryan? Is it too early to really know? And how much of height, whether we want to like it or not, is going to be a factor for Wolf's success?
Well, I mean, last year the teams that saw him more than once, are the ones that really kind of exploited some of his challenges. I mean, he's not big. He's listed at 6 foot, and he looks every bit of it. And his lateral, side to side, it's a little bit easier to beat a guy that's 6 foot than 6'5". That's just basic anatomy. But he's so, when he's on his game, he's so aggressive and he's so good at cutting down angles and really anticipating that. I think that's what allowed him to be so successful in the American League. I mean, the American League, granted, it's definitely a step down from the NHL. The American League is a damn good league, and there's a lot of good players there. And Dustin Wolf has spent, the better part of 3 years making some damn fine shooters in the American League look rather ordinary. And that's despite being, probably a couple inches shorter than the average AHL goalie. And so I think, for as much as I think if he plays more in the NHL, all these coaches are going to have some more game film on him, I think he'll also have a bit more of a book on the NHL, because we've seen that process in the American League, where he played bits and pieces in the American League and he gradually got better and better. He figured out how to anticipate better. So, as much as the NHL is going to adjust to Dustin Wolf, I think Dustin Wolf is going to be, equally adept at adjusting to the NHL.
Yeah, it's, what? Obviously, every team needs good goaltending, and we'll see. He's done everything at the AHL, and we'll see if he can do it at the NHL level. You mentioned the blue line earlier. Tyson Barrie. What are his odds, you think, of turning that PTO into a contract?
I need to see him in a game, because I haven't seen a ton of him. I think the thing for him is, man, the Flames power play is bad last year. And if you're Craig Conroy and you're thinking, boy, oh boy, I'd like to give my team a fighting chance, the thing that took the air out of their balloon too many times last year, up until maybe the last 20 games or so, was their power play. Once Andrei Kuzmenko got to Calgary, the power play started to get going. But pretty much the entire year, they just did not have mojo in the power play at all. And it cost them games, and it cost them momentum. And so if you're the Flames and you're just looking at on paper in your lineup and acknowledging, okay, on paper, you're probably going to have some long nights, especially at 5-on-5. Your power play might be the thing that allows you to keep your head above water a bit, or at least stick with the pack, at least stay semi-competitive. And so the question for them is probably, are you $1 million, $1.5 million contract to Tyson Barrie away from having a power play that is what you want it to be? Because if you think Tyson Barrie can be the difference between you having some long, painful nights and having some nights that you may not win, but at least you'll be competitive, I think you look at it, because it's a very low risk proposition. And, maybe in March you're looking at, you're below the playoff cut line, but all of a sudden, in addition to a Kuzmenko, who's suddenly a hot commodity at the trade deadline, or a Mantha, you have another guy that you got for nothing that you could potentially flip. So I think I wouldn't rule it out. If you're asking me on September 23rd to bet on it, I'd lean yes right now, simply because I don't know what the power play looks like without him. But I also think he'll have the ability to play his weight on or off. And I think, there's going to be a lot of things. Last year, if the choice is between, say, Tyson Barrie comes in and helps out your power play, how much does losing Braden Pahal hurt your penalty kill? I think those are the kind of things they need to balance. And I don't have an answer for that, but I'm fascinated to see how it unfolds.
Ryan, good stuff, buddy. Enjoy the split squad tonight. We will chat with you again through the year, of course.
Take care, guys.
There you go. That's Ryan Pike from flamesnation.ca. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And when we come back, it has been an unbelievable run lately. From afterthought to a legit contender. We'll discuss it next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's number one.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Herrenschwiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhawk beef jerky today, because you don't win friends with salad.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Other heroes hiding in plain sight. GS Construction. But who are these supermen and women in hard hat? They're the ones with the power to offer services such as infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and more. And when they're finished doing what they do best, everything is covered and invisible to everyone's eye. So don't look for them in the sky. They're out on the roads and in your neighborhoods. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
.347. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440. Game day, Oilers and the Flames. 2 games tonight, preseason. Split squads. If you're going to the game in Edmonton, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Ekholm, Bouchard, they will all be playing in Edmonton. Jeff Skinner, Arvidsson, Henrique will be the top line in Calgary for the Edmonton Oilers. Tonight, Podkolzin and Raphael Lavoie are going to skate on a line with Leon Draisaitl. So the big shooters, we'll see if they get an opportunity to have a big shot. Now, speaking of big shooters and big shots, Major League Baseball, it has been an amazing run down the stretch when you look at teams getting back in the hunt, but also you look at Shohei Ohtani's season, Aaron Judge. This season, Judge looking to become the first guy with 140 ribbies in 14 years in the MLB. Shohei Ohtani, of course, is the first player ever to have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. And this was after Asuna had 41 home runs and 73 stolen bases last year. Pretty good year, and hit like 330. It's been great. But Ohtani's last week has been outstanding. He probably had the greatest individual single game we've ever seen in baseball. 6 for 6. 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases, 10 RBIs. I got to think that's the greatest individual game we've ever seen in MLB history. Michael Duarte from NBC Los Angeles has been covering Ohtani and MLB for quite some time. And, not Ohtani in LA, of course, has only been there once with the Dodgers, but was there before with the Angels. But, Michael, you look like that performance, like just the last 2 weeks, it's like Ohtani is one of those great players who finds a way to elevate his game even higher when there's more people watching.
Yeah, Jason. And yeah, we were covering him, when he was the 2018 Rookie of the Year with the Angels and coming up as this two-way sensation. So we definitely here in LA have been covering him, but we don't perceive the Angels as, I guess, Los Angeles' A team. They're out in Orange County. They haven't made the playoffs in, this decade. So for us here, the Dodgers, it's like he is the show. He is the biggest star arguably on earth right now in a city that has LeBron James, Matthew Stafford, Kawhi Leonard. We can go on and on. He is the show. And I heard you mentioning that single game that I do believe is the greatest offensive game we will see in history. But now it's made official by Major League Baseball. He was just named the Player of the Week. And in those 4 games he had in the last week, he hit 500, 16 hits, 6 homers, 17 ribbies, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 11 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, and slugged 1.125. That's an incredible month or two for the average MLB player. And Shohei Ohtani did this in a week, not to mention in a week that he clinched the playoffs for the Dodgers, his first time heading to the postseason, entering the 50-50 club for himself. And we forget that when this season started back in March in Korea with the Dodgers, he was embroiled in scandal and MLB was investigating him. And it was potentially he could be suspended if he had bet on baseball. And he found out his best friend, interpreter, chauffeur, personal assistant, whatever, he was all these things in one, had stole $16 million from him. And we weren't sure how that was going to affect him on the field. But here in his first season with the Dodgers, it has not affected him at all. He is, in my opinion, the clear front runner by far for NL MVP. And if there wasn't 2 leagues, I think he'd be all of baseball's MVP, despite the fact that he's a designated hitter this year only.
Yeah, you look at, I guess the only advantage when you lose 16 mil is that you're making 600. So yeah, you're
700.
So yeah, he doesn't feel the pain as much as most people would for that. But it was a crazy story to say the least. Now, in talking to him, do you expect him to pitch for sure next season?
Yeah, I 100% expect him to pitch for sure next season. And there is talk, and they met this just over this last weekend where they played the Rockies. There is talk, Jason, because of the way his rehab is going and his ramp up is going, that should the Dodgers advance all the way to the World Series, that would line up with when Shohei Ohtani would be just coming off of a rehab assignment. Had this, let's say, been back in April or May, not here at the end of September. And then, of course, after the rehab assignment, similar to what Tony Gonsolin is doing right now for the Dodgers, he just finished up his 4th rehab assignment with OKC. He's been pitching well. The Dodgers expect him to potentially maybe make a final start in Colorado this coming weekend. So, that's just what happens next. Now, will Tony Gonsolin make the postseason roster after one appearance in the major leagues, in over a year and a half? Probably not. And I don't think the Dodgers are going to pitch Ohtani, but could you see him potentially coming out of the bullpen for an inning like he did in that World Baseball Classic? I 100% think as long as he's healthy, he's pitching next season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ohtani pushed, especially in an elimination game or something, to try to appear out of the bullpen in a potential World Series game, because it lines up for when he would be making his major league appearance as a pitcher anyways with his rehab assignment.
What is it about Ohtani that makes him so good? You obviously follow him a ton. Is it something about his preparation, how he views the game? Is there anything that you can see or take away that would separate him from some of the other elite athletes?
Yeah, and I don't separate him from the elite athletes per se, Sean. I kind of group him in there, especially with guys like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, stars we've seen here in LA. Shohei Ohtani at a very young age as a teenager had this goal matrix board, right? Goals he wanted to hit. And this is no different than what you and I might have a goal. We just don't have a goal to be maybe the greatest baseball player that ever stepped foot on the diamond. We might have individual goals, whether it's financial, career, the same goals that we would have. He has all mapped out, and he has the way to do it. And the best example I could give you from a personal story, when we were out at Camelback Ranch for spring training this year in Arizona, Shohei Ohtani said, look, I'm not going to be pitching this year on the mound, so I want to get faster. I want to steal bases. This 50-50 wasn't necessarily a goal, but to exceed those 26 stolen bases, his previous career high, was a goal. And so he set out to do that. And part of that was working on his explosiveness, his speed, which would be necessary to steal bases. Now, he does most of his weight training and strength building in the offseason, and then throughout the season just deals on explosiveness, whether it's at the plate or whether in this case running. And so there's a machine that the Dodgers had in Arizona at Camelback Ranch that's supposed to kind of reassemble and reproduce the parachute sprint. You strap a parachute to you and you sprint on the field. So it's supposed to reproduce that. And he broke the machine on the very first day. He's that strong, that explosive. And he has just been working at his craft. And so this is no similar to when Kobe Bryant would shoot, I don't know how many free throws or three-pointers left-handed because he wanted to work on his ability to shoot left-handed in a game. Or LeBron James goes and works with Akeem Olajuwon in the offseason to work on his post moves after that finals loss when the Heat lost to the Mavericks and he was kind of exposed down in the post. Guys just try to find ways to get better. They set goals. They do whatever it takes to reach it. That is what Ohtani is like. And because he just lives, eats, breathes baseball, to your point, Sean, and this is what Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman have told me, these guys are MVPs, in my opinion, first ballot Hall of Famers. He's that much better than those guys in the game. He's literally in a class of his own at this point because of that goal-oriented mindset and the ability to work on his craft religiously, obsessively to reach those goals.
I got a question. For him to have success, it is a team sports, and you mentioned Mookie Betts. What are some of the other players? I'm assuming, for other teams when it goes for when pitchers are pitching against them, what other players have had success or good seasons that kind of helped him reach his goal?
Yeah, his goal is always to make the postseason, especially he wasn't able to do that in his first 6 years in big leagues. And his goal ultimately is to win the World Series. And I think he knew, probably not even this last season with the Angels, but maybe a couple years before that even with Mike Trout, arguably another one of the greatest players in baseball, but a guy who can't stay healthy, admittedly, that he needed some help to do that. One of the things that enticed him to sign with the Dodgers in the offseason was the fact that they've now made the playoffs 11 consecutive seasons, was the fact that they have guys like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, guys around him and there have been stretches, guys, Sean and Jason, this year where Shohei looked human, where he couldn't hit the ball. And this is like how pitchers are attacking him. And that's why I'm so interested to see him perform and play in the postseason, because look, I've been doing this for a long time, over a decade. The postseason is completely different than the regular season. Look no further than the Dodgers getting swept by the Diamondbacks last year, getting beat by the Padres the year before, even though they beat the brakes off of them in the regular season. The postseason is completely different. You're not playing every single day with a few hours to watch video and plan and strategize for these teams. You have days to prepare. And I think Shohei's not going to get very many pitches to hit in the playoffs. I think they're going to try to pitch around him. I don't think he's going to see the same pitches that he sees in the regular season in the playoffs, which means guys like Mookie Betts behind him, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez are going to have to step up and give him some support in the postseason. And I think he might be in, I don't want to say a rude awakening, because he's still Shohei Ohtani. It seems when the lights are the brightest and the pressure is on, he shines and he excels, just like when he did the 40-40 club by hitting a walk-off grand slam in the ninth. Hopefully he does, but I think he's going to see completely different pitching and strategy once he gets to the postseason.
Michael Duarte joins us. Now, you look at the playoff race in the NL. They're a game ahead of the Phillies. They play San Diego, who's one of the 490 win teams in the NL next. And then both them and the Phillies, they got the bottom feeders, the Rockies and the Nationals in their final one. But the Phillies play the Cubs. How important do you think finishing first in the NL is for the Dodgers? This series against the Padres, I think they should be able to win their last series fairly easy in theory. But what do you make of this series against the Padres and how important it is for the Dodgers to stay ahead of the Phillies and win the NL?
Yeah, Jason, I wouldn't say fairly easy. I mean, things looked pretty rocky for their chances to win the West over this weekend at Dodger Stadium against this worst place team in the National League West in the Colorado Rockies. Pun intended there. So then going up to Colorado, I mean, we might see Ohtani's offensive numbers explode, but we're not necessarily going to see, the Dodgers sweep that team to end the season like we thought maybe they would do this weekend. But like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, Ohtani and Betts decided to wait till the very end to pull their plot twist and hit back-to-back walk-off homers in the bottom of the ninth on Sunday to win that game. And why that's so important, Jason, is because now the Padres come in and your magic number is 4, not 5, meaning you just win 2 of these 3, the division's over. I only think they need to win 1 game here in these Padres. Then that brings that magic number to 2. And then you just need 1 win, a Padres loss in the final 3. That looks like it happened. Now, granted, it means you're kind of winning your 11th NL West title in the last 12 years, ugly and comfortable, kind of like a pair of Crocs. But ultimately, I think they want that bye, especially with all the injuries on the pitching staff going on. And you want to see what guys can be healthy. But this series this week, starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at Dodger Stadium against the Padres, it's going to do 2 things. One, I think this is a potential playoff preview to your point, Jason, whether they end up as the number 1 seed where they are now. It looks like the Padres, who have just been hotter than concrete on your feet in the summertime lately. I think winners of 7 of 8, 7 of 10 overall, where the Dodgers have kind of been playing 500 ball lately. This is a potential playoff series. You're going to see Jack Flaherty, the presumptive number 1 pitcher in the playoffs right now for the Dodgers, without Tyler Glasnow, pitching on Wednesday, I believe, against Dylan Cease. That's probably a game 1 matchup in an NLDS. You're going to see, I think you're going to see Walker Buehler pitching later in this series against Joe Musgrove. That to me would be like a game 3 or 4 matchup in a playoff series. So you're going to see some of these playoff matches on the pitching staff playing. And so it's really important to win this series to clinch the Division 1. I think that's more important than the number 1 overall seed, especially because if you want to avoid San Diego in the NLDS, and I'm not saying the Dodgers are ducking anybody, but if they finish in 2, I then believe they would get, as of today, I think it would be the winner of the Mets Brewers. Now that could change. It could be Brewers Diamondbacks. So I think they're a virtually the same record, but the Mets have a tough stretch down the stretch to get in. I think they're playing the Braves, so that's going to kind of be decided right there. But if you want to avoid your division rivals, then maybe the 2 seed is the way to go for the Dodgers here. But the argument you could make for the number 1 overall seed is Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia is a very tough place to play in the postseason. It is very loud. That is a home field advantage. And if there was a potential Phillies-Dodgers NLCS matchup down the road, you wouldn't want the Phillies to have home field advantage with that. But other than that, that's the only advantage I see the number 1 seed. And I see maybe getting a better matchup in the NLDS if you're the Dodgers a little bit more important. And the last thing I'll say, Jason, is the Dodgers have been struggling, like I said, kind of turning their wheels here against some bad teams lately. I think they need this Padres series to get that edge back. The Padres always have an edge playing the Dodgers. And so something that could go well on Tuesday is if they get punched in the mouth early, it can wake these guys up and kind of get them postseason ready here with a little over a week to go.
Michael, great stuff, man. We really appreciate it. To enjoy the stretch drive into the playoffs. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.
Sounds good. Have a good show and enjoy the weather there in Edmonton today.
Oh, you betcha. It's going to be absolutely unreal the next 2 days, man. We're talking like 25 degrees here, 26 the next 2 days.
I'm going to go on the river.
Oof, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck, Brownie.
Why not?
I'll bet you. Are you going to go?
Yeah, tomorrow.
You're going to go swimming in the river?
No, going to go kayaking.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're on the river.
Yeah.
Not in the river.
No, I don't.
Well, maybe jump over and just cool down.
Go, no.
We'll see. 402, Jason Gregor. Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the comment. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire, and they have teamed up with Sports Central to help get bikes for kids. And you have stepped up big time. We're up to 868 bikes for the first 3 Saturdays. This coming Saturday is the last drop-off day from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Bikes for kids. If you need a bike that you have and you want to get it fixed, they'll fix it up. They got all the mechanics. Just donate the bike. Go to sports1440.ca and you can see all the locations at Fountain Tire, Sports Central, and more.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day. We've got split squad action in our province tonight as the Oilers and Flames meeting here in town at the Ice District. Also at the Saddle Dome. Both games getting going just after 7 o'clock. Around the NHL, Minnesota Wild forward Matt Boldy has been labeled as week-to-week with a lower body injury. The injury announced earlier today for the 23-year-old winger status from Minnesota's regular season opener on October 10th in jeopardy. In the NFL, we've got 2 games tonight. Bills, Jags kick things off at 5:30 from Buffalo. Then at 6:15, it's the Commanders heading to Cincinnati to take on the 0-2 Bengals. From the CFL, the Edmonton Elks have released American defensive back Leon O'Neal Jr. The 25-year-old was signed by the Elks in January, made the team as a starting Sam linebacker. He was ejected from Saturday's game against the Bombers for throwing a punch. In the majors, just 4 games tonight. Jays will take on the Red Sox just after 5. You got the Cubs taking on the Phillies. Astros host the Mariners. And the Giants head to Phoenix to take on the Diamondbacks. And Vince Carter will have his number retired by the Toronto Raptors. Carter, who is going into the Hall of Fame next month, will have his jersey retired by the team on November 2nd when they take on the Sacramento Kings, per reports. And the Canadian Hockey League announcing today that 5 Western Hockey League clubs, the Wheat Kings, Rockets, Hurricanes, Tigers, and Chiefs, have officially submitted their formal written bids in an effort to secure the hosting rights for the 2026 Memorial Cup. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by Andi Petrillo of CBC Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference. Volvo of Edmonton.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute! Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
Rolling through lovely Monday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, is always presented by Play Alberta. Get in the game where all of the revenue stays right here in Alberta. That's playalberta.ca. And it's time for our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. She's actually coming up in next segment. She always was at 4:00, but now we moved her to 4:20 because now we switched because Brownie's in. So that's perfect. So yeah, she'll be coming up in 12 minutes. Old habits die hard. So I'm just so excited to talk to her, but she's coming up next segment. There you go, Cons. Thanks for that. If you missed it, lots of people are wondering about the game. Oh, do you want to go to the game tonight? That I didn't miss. Text in your name, Oilers, and a positive comment about anything. And you'll be in the draw. We like to spread positivity. So a positive comment and just about anything you like. It doesn't matter. And we'll put you in the draw for a pair of seats. Lower bowl where the Oilers attack twice tonight to see McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins, Bouchard, Ekholm, Podkolzin, Raphael Lavoie, Phillips playing, Perry's playing, Petrov's playing. So there you go. 833-401-1440 in our Ewell inbox. 833-401-1440. Put in your phone once, save it. Sports 1440. Super easy. So there you go. Now, Brian, we were discussing earlier in the show during the break. You're getting all fired up. So we'll bring that conversation. Do you remember what you were fired up about?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go through your what you're looking at as far as do you think you were at the game and you don't think there's enough guys who went out of their way to get noticed? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but it's also fair that it's the first exhibition game too, right? And there's a lot of nerves, especially for Philp, who hasn't played in a year. But I guess my point to you when we were talking off air is that I just feel like, for what the Oilers need right now is some guys to fill in. Their top two lines are full. Third line's full. Fourth line is probably where the openings are. And so the guys that are going to be on that line are going to have to play with a ton of energy. They're going to have to play with a little bit of sandpaper, a little gritty, and be uncomfortable to play against. And I just felt like some of the guys that were in that situation, I'll say Paul Colson was, the best out of him and Lavoie, but I felt like if Lavoie is going to try and stick and put himself in a position to make this team, I think he has to play a little bit more uncomfortable. And you were talking about, well, this isn't like it used to be. And it doesn't have to,
like, honestly, and you bring up a valid point. And so in the old, like, there was fights and there was physical, like yesterday, I'm not sure how many there hits, but it might've been fewer than 10.
There was a couple, like Kajula had a big one.
Yeah,
there was a big one on the
hit.
final goal.
But
Colson.
do you think
Yeah.
there was more than like 10?
I almost don't think I almost feel like they didn't need the linesman because there was very little scrums. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Once the whistle went, it was after. No one was sticking around. No one was making that next effort to get to the front of that.
Yeah. The Oilers organization,
they don't have those guys.
No.
And they need those guys.
I
I
agree.
I think you have to. They've been missing that type of player for a period of time where it comes natural. I think you're asking Lavoie to play a game that I don't know if he's really played or feels comfortable playing that way. Well, we'll find out. I mean, we've talked about in the past where you have to, reinvent yourself. That's a guy that's going to have to reinvent himself a little bit and add that to his game and actually feel comfortable with it. I just, when you're, as an organization, when you're getting guys to slot in certain roles and situations, you want to make sure that they're really comfortable doing it, because there's nothing worse getting a guy to play that way or wanting him to play that way if he's not even comfortable playing that way. Right. And so, I think it would be a priority for the organization to find some young guys, draft some of those guys that, feel comfortable playing that way. Because you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Every team needs them. They're going to need, they got a ton of skill. And I think with Evander Kane not being in the lineup, they're going to miss, some of that grit. And who's that, what's the line that you're going to put out there that's going to, after a goal or I don't know, you're playing San Jose on a Wednesday night. Who's going to go out there and create some energy and a buzz and get guys into it and get the fans into it?
Now the counterpoint will be they didn't have that last year and they went all the way to Stanley Cup final game 7. Right? So, because you're right, like I wish that they had another guy in your bottom 6 who played that way. And just because you did it last year doesn't mean you don't need it. But that's what the counterpoint's going to be, is like, well, they didn't need it last year and they went all the way to the Cup final. Right?
Yeah.
Now, what Stan Bowman says last year was last year, this year's this year. I would agree that I think for a long time, the Oilers organization hasn't really drafted many players who come with that element. And now, there's not many. Let's be honest. If you go around the NHL now, I can go up and down teams and say, okay, who do teams have that bring that element to their game? Right? There's just not many. Now, I think style of play at all levels has that. You know, there to be a spit disturber, there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I think overall, it's a personality you have to have. And I don't think there's a lot of people that naturally have that personality who enjoy it. Because I think you can't fake it. You can fake it for a while, but eventually I think it's hard to be what you're not. So the ones who have it, I'd be curious why we don't see them as much anymore. That might be.
They're just, question. I mean, because everyone's a skilled kid. I mean, I know that, you know, for the short time that I was involved in coaching and GM, I mean, every kid that comes in is, you know, you ask them what type of player they are. Everyone's a skilled guy, right? You look up their stats, they got no points, right? So it's like, what else are you willing to do? A lot of kids are just willing to just be like, hey, if there's no room for me on this team as a skilled guy, then I guess there's no room for me, right? So trying to reinvent yourself and trying to bring that other dimension and getting really comfortable with it. Yeah, it's hard to find in kids now, right? No one, you know, we practice, you know, it's a lot of, you know, devices and skill and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I think that the grit and the hard battling and the competing and the not so sexy stuff, you know, we don't, you know, we're not pushing that as much. It's not as big of a deal.
And I wonder, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I have no backing of it, but I'm curious, as hockey becomes more expensive and you have a lot of families at the higher level, you got to pay a lot of money to be there. And there's some who don't have the money and they kind of get lost by the wayside. It's very unfortunate. And so a lot of those with the money don't necessarily have the struggles, right? And so they're not willing, but they don't feel it's necessary to have to get outside their comfort zone. I wonder, like, that's a big psychological experiment, but I do wonder if that's a factor at all. And then you throw in the style of game now that it's all about puck possession. There's not as much dump and chase overall. So there's not as much opportunity to be physical because it's so much about puck possession. I wonder if that impacts the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Kids are definitely more skilled. I mean, I don't know. It's a hard balance. A game's it's such a weird spot now, right? I mean, when you look at developing and working with kids, it's tough at a young age. We're all going through it right now and watching all these different tryouts. There's so many options now. It's hard to get kids to be like, hey, you know what? They don't really try out for anything. It's hard you talk about money. There's so many academies and different options for these kids that, you know, do they even really try out for the most part, right? It's like, spend your money and you're on a team, right? And they're missing those important steps of what it's like to try out and go through that process and, you know, have the uncertainty and, you know, the mental strength, that the anxiety that we all, you know, all athletes have to go through is like, you know, am I on this team and what is the coach thinking and what do I got to do? And, you know, at a young age, you kind of learn to develop those skills and ability to adjust your game. Right now, it's just, hey, you know, you're on this team. Give me 20 grand. Right. So, yeah, it's, you know what, I guess I'm speaking on my experience, right? I mean, I think the apparatus skill work is obviously really important, but I also think, you know, and I know when you start to change it up at different times throughout the summer, especially as the summer's ending and you're getting closer to your tryouts and you want to start it's important to start doing board battles and some of the stuff that's uncomfortable and hard, but a lot of kids don't want to do. Kids aren't as excited to get into board battles and mucking and grinding as much as they like doing pattern drills through and hopping through apparatuses, right? So it's something that I think there used to be a lot more players that, would go to camp that were hard to play against, gritty and grinding. Like, they were easier to find. They're harder to find now, right? And are those picks that, like, those used to be later round picks? I think those picks now are second round picks. Would you agree?
Well, I think size comes into play sometimes still in the higher round picks for sure. I'm not sure it's necessarily the grit factor though, because I can go through the recent draft picks, and now grit's evolved over time, right? And there's guys like going through traffic consistently to me is grit. If you're willing to go to the tough areas with the puck, guys who like today going to the front of the net today, I understand it's different than when Craig Simpson was in front of the net and guys were just Sean Brown's out there just standing for 5 seconds, cross-checking him 10 times in the back. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still, to go to the net is still hard. You're going to get hacked. You're going to get whacked, right? Because it's more congestion, right? So I think the games evolve for sure. But I think as the evolution goes, teams are still looking for the players that you've described, but there's a lot of minor sports that has lost the value in that type of skill set. That's what I like. Even at the junior levels, are they really, you see junior hockey now, the guys who are on the power play are also on the penalty kill. It used to be the guys on the power play in junior were on the power play, and the guys who weren't on the power play were on the penalty kill. And now you don't have that as much. And so especially in junior, the top kids play a ton, and some of those third and fourth line kids, they don't play very often. And now the good teams do. The smart teams do it, but there's lots who don't. I watch it. I see it. And I'm like, what is going on? You got, some kids are barely playing and you wonder why they're not developing, and they might be those guys, but then, they don't get to play. So it's a really good question. And we'll get some of our, scouts and analysts on from those leagues about that. Get Shane Malloy on. He's scouted for years, and talk about that specific asset, because I think it's fascinating conversation, because I think it's something that every kid should love to score because it's super fun. And I never want to take that out of the game, but you can score and still have an edge. And like, look at Matthew Tkachuk. Oilers fans might hate him, but Matthew Tkachuk's got an edge to his game, right? But that's his personality, right? Like they have that. They're gritty, they're fiery. It's in them. Part of it, I wonder, is genetics. How much of it is are you taught that? I don't know. Like, were you weren't a very rugged kid off of the ice, right? Growing up, it wasn't like Sean Brown was fighting in the streets, right? When, 9, 10, 11, you're like, well, I had to fight my way out of junior high here. I'm meeting behind the bike racks because I didn't like what Tommy said to me, right? Like you weren't really that kid. Is that fair?
Yeah, but I guess.
No, but you weren't. So
No.
where did you learn that then? How did you become that kid on the ice?
My dad.
Yeah. So what did he sit down and said, Brownie, we need you to play aggressive?
Well, he just, I remember, to be honest with you, I was a little bit aggressive off the ice.
Okay, so you did get in fights. Well, why are you lying to me? Jeez.
Yeah, I was a little aggressive, and my dad just said, "Hey, listen, you can get in a lot of trouble."
So
for
how many
being...
fights did Sean Brown have in the schoolyard?
Oh God, I wasn't counting. I don't remember.
Like,
but I just,
like,
I was
are you having like 3-4 a year in school?
I honestly, I don't even know.
Okay.
But I was.
Now you're trying to like you're not going to get in trouble.
I know.
You're not
I know.
gonna have
I
to go
know.
to the teacher's principal office here. Just tell the truth. How many tilts were you in?
I don't know. But I was an aggressive kid, and
Okay.
I do remember having my dad having a conversation with me and being like, "Hey, you know what? Like, you play a sport that if you are an aggressive on the ice, you're not going to get any trouble, and there's a lot of value in that, right? So if you want to be aggressive and hit and fight and do all that, do it in a sport where you might get rewarded for it." So that was my message.
But you had it a little bit in you, right? So your son, who's going to NCAA.
Yeah, he's not like that one bit.
And so it's hard to teach that, right?
You can't teach that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know about trying to, some guys can figure it out. I guess my point when we were talking off air is like, I don't know if I want a guy that's like, if when you look at Lavoie there, he just, it wasn't as natural.
Fair point.
Right? It didn't seem to me like it was as natural. It was like, hey, I've had a conversation with the coach. This is what the coach wants me to do. I want to make sure, I guess, if I'm a coach, like that's something you want to do. I don't want to get someone in there in a position where you're asking them to do something they're not 100% comfortable with, because it's not, I just don't think it's going to work. Right. So that's where I'm saying the Oilers, if they don't have it, they got to find it. And if you don't, and one way to find it is actually to get some of those guys in your organization, but they are hard to find.
Yeah. Oh, very hard to find. And then there has been a whole conversation about society as a whole, not just in sports, and our unwillingness to want to have our kids ever deal with any sort of adversity. And I actually think it's wrong. I think grit doesn't mean physical, doesn't mean fighting. It's failing at something, whatever it is, losing. And guess what? Not everybody gets a participation ribbon. You don't just show up to the track meet and get a participation ribbon. I don't think that helps. My own opinion, I don't think it's great. Kids will be fine if they don't get one. You don't need one. You didn't earn anything. Just showing up doesn't mean you earn it. You got to earn it. There should be something magical about winning the race. And if you finish fourth, yeah, that sucks. It's brutal. No one likes it, but it doesn't kill you. It can inspire you. It can make you work harder. And so I do wonder if our whole societal, generation of parents who are like, oh, geez, I don't want my son or daughter to have any sort of adversity. We just want to help them. And we think we're helping them when in fact, I'm not sure we are. I think we probably have to get a psychologist on here, but my gut instinct tells me that having a little bit of failure, having a little bit of adversity isn't going to hurt you. It's going to make you better because you get up and you realize, you know what? I'm okay. I didn't die. I'm not mentally now, ruined. I just had a little bit of a failure. Somebody might be better than me at something. I can come back the next time and try harder. So,
especially at a young age.
Yeah.
Right.
Kids forget things very quickly. Quick break. It's a good conversation. Quick break. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Andi Petrillo will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, and Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The Brick semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Hurry in for the sale. It only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
1440 Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Cons, did you pick a winner for the tickets for the Orders game?
We're getting there.
Okay.
Calculating, we got a few more I want to go through before I make my final decision, but it'll be done in the next 2 minutes.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Comment. He really takes his stuff serious. I like it. And we'll send you the tickets. You probably need those too. So that will help go into the game tonight. 833-401-1440. Text in your name and just something positive, whatever it is. Something positive. Cheers people up. If you spread positivity, it works. They've seen the social experiments. See somebody just start laughing in public and keep laughing, and everybody else around them starts laughing. So it's kind of weird. Maybe not everybody, most people. Now, we're going to talk lots of soccer, but also we're going to talk a little Amazon with our next guest, of course, because she is going to be one of the hosts. If you don't know, Sportsnet sold their Monday night package to Amazon Prime for Monday night games. And there's a few other games of the week as well. And Andi Petrillo from One Soccer and CBC, also now, I guess, from Prime Monday Night Hockey, joins us. Andi, how you doing?
A bit of a long day, exciting day. And I feel like this is a second week in a row here, Jason, where I'm talking to you from inside a car. This is it. The bit should just be Andi in a car.
Yeah,
and
you're kind of a big deal. Eh? You just get chauffeured around all the time. It's basically what I've understood here the last few weeks. I don't know how to drive. People drive me. Hi, I'm Andi Petrillo.
Yeah, traffic is bad. Can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But exciting day for sure, as you're alluding to, with Amazon Prime making the announcement official, right, for Monday Night Hockey. And I'm very proud to say that I will be part of that, hosting on Monday nights. And there's also a show Thursdays, Coast to Coast, which is very much along the NFL red zone model and bouncing around from games to games on a Thursday night, having fun, but also X's and O's of the game that we've just watched, a goal, power play, you name it. So it's pretty exciting to be back in NHL.
I've noticed that lots of people associated with our show, Andi Petrillo, Mike Rupp, are all part of this. So
yes.
It's good. It's good exposure for you guys. We're happy to help. No, I'm kidding. But it's great to see that you guys are doing more. What can you tell us about what you're expecting for hockey fans for Monday night?
To me, it's just fresh faces, fresh ideas, fresh storytelling. Obviously, the game is the game, and you respect the coverage of the game. And while I'm not going to lie, we're going to try some different things here and there, but the integrity of the game will always be upheld. And I think it's just nice to once again have a different look in the hockey world. We obviously have had great coverage throughout the years from TSN and Sportsnet. And, for the longest time, obviously CBC was in that game too with Hockey Night in Canada for years before Sportsnet took over. But there really hasn't been like a variety the way they do in the States. And we know this with the NFL being on multiple networks and NBA being on multiple networks. Like this is something that we haven't really had in Canada. So I think it's just, very exciting that we're going to offer just some fresh faces with voices and storytelling. And, this is, and obviously the technology that comes along with it, the ability to use analytics in game. The Americans as well coming in, obviously speaking to a Canadian audience, but there definitely is the Thursday Amazon NFL model. It's going big, and it's a lot of pomp and circumstance. Amazon will be doing 26 games. So the luxury of that is you get to treat every game almost like it's a playoff game because you're doing 26, because we know that, obviously if you're covering other teams, an 82 game grind can be just that. But Amazon has this kind of special, like 26 games, they can treat it almost like how an NFL broadcast is, where every game is massive because you're doing it once a week. So I think that's what's going to be really special about it too.
Andi Petrillo joins us. Andi, let's move to soccer. The big Canadian Championship finals coming up this week. Vancouver versus Toronto. Who do you have as the favorite?
For me, hands down, it's got to be Vancouver. Just their form, how they're doing in Major League Soccer as well, how they've been looking in this Canadian Championship. They're just a team that's been far more consistent. They've also gotten players back who have been injured. Brian White is a real big one. He returned from a concussion. He played on the weekend. So they've got everyone that they want in their lineup. They're just really strong. Whereas TFC has been so inconsistent. It's been a roller coaster ride. They're missing a lot of their back line. I mean, Wingo, Gomis, a lot of these players dealing with injury, difficulty scoring. They're coming off back-to-back losses in Major League Soccer that were both 2-0 finals. So, and now Jonathan Osorio getting injured as well midweek, didn't play on the weekend. So it's like, yeah, everything's trending in the right direction for Vancouver. They're going to be hosting. They're at home, between, having the time zone in their favor, the crowd in their favor, the fact that they've made it pretty clear they want the three-peat. They're going for the third straight, looking strong, looking good. I would say they're the favorites. Like, so far, they've been putting their money where their mouth is. And given the way everything else has gone, obviously we watch sports till the end because we don't know the ending. And TFC could pull up a big surprise. But I think that would be just it. If TFC did win, it would be a surprise because the favorites, the heavy favorites here, definitely are the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Andy, where are we at with the Canadian women's drone scandal? I haven't heard much about it. Where are you at with that?
No, and we've reached out to Canada Soccer trying to get updates as well. And they just keep reiterating it's a third-party investigator and they're at the whim of their timing. And it kind of was a little, it was an odd feeling because, in October, the women have a couple friendlies coming up, one of which has already been confirmed. They haven't confirmed their second opponent, but the first one will be against the World Cup champions in Spain. And that game's like October 25th, but we're all sitting there going, okay, but who's going to be coaching them? Because, Bev Priestman, as we know, has been suspended, not officially let go by Canada Soccer because they're waiting for this result of the investigation. And Andy Spence, assistant, was the one who took over during the Olympics. So we're like, okay, is he going to be the one then who's going to be behind the bench for these games in October, or is he going to be implicated in some way? So as excited as we are to see the women back on the pitch in October, you do feel like this investigation is hovering over them. And because we're not getting any answers, and Canada Soccer said, listen, we're trying to push this third-party investigator, but they're working at their own pace. It's weird because it's just this cloud that's hanging over them, in the women in particular. So it's hard, at least for me and other people that I've spoken to, to get excited for these October games, because if you don't have a coach, you don't know who your coach is, what's your direction? Like, what are we looking for in this October 25th game against the World Cup champs? I just don't know. It's a very odd feeling. But all we keep getting from Canada Soccer is that the timing of it all is out of their hands.
Huh. Andi Petrillo joins us. Yeah, and part of that is going back to the drone scandal. I know it's for the women's game, but kind of dates back to the John Herdman times. What do you think is more important to him, make the playoffs or win the Canadian Championship?
Oh, it's a good one. I feel like he's, grown how many other gray hairs now that he's gone into the pro game. So it's like, be careful what you wish for. But I would say, me personally, I would guess that the Canadian Championship would be more important, only because the way I see it is they're hanging on by a hair on their chin to a playoff spot. It's not looking good. It's not guaranteed that they would even make the playoffs. And I think there's this real belief that even if they make the playoffs, it could be a one and done for them. Whereas winning the Canadian Championship, you can turn around and say, well, we didn't make the playoffs, but we won a trophy. By the way, that trophy matters because if you win the Canadian Championship, that gives you a berth into CONCACAF Champions League, which is a massive tournament. There's money for the organization in that as well. Even though TFC won the 2020 Canadian Championship, obviously that was a COVID year. It was a very weird one and done game against the CPL team Forge. The last time they won, quote unquote, a real Canadian title was in 2018. So to me, I would say you've got to be prepared for this one. This is a final. It's a cup final, right? You've got to go out. This has to be important to you. Obviously you want to make the playoffs in your league play, but given the way the season's been going, it's so up and down. It's so unpredictable. This is your final on Wednesday. This has to be a big deal for TFC. And I think in some ways that is something John Herdman can float to the MLSE board of directors to say, I know this year's been up and down. Whatever ends up happening in the playoffs, to your point, the investigation, you bet, is going to look into the history of his influence with the usage of drones in Canada Soccer. So if he can turn around and say, but I got you a trophy and I got you into Champions Cup, then that's something that matters, right? So I would say the Voyageurs Cup has to matter for him on Wednesday.
Andy, great stuff. Quickly to hockey. you look forward to, you do the Monday games, you go around kind of, all the league games in action in motion on the Thursday. As you hone up on your hockey stuff again, is like, what's your expectations for Ottawa and Montreal specifically? Do you like Ottawa, decent chance to make it? Maybe Montreal, I don't know, but like, what do you view as like, is Ottawa Cup like playoff or bust for that team? They just hired a new coach, so I don't think the coach gets fired. But if they don't make the playoffs, does management have to kind of gut their core?
See, it's a good question, but there's a belief among a lot of the hockey pundits, and I've been picking their brains as well, just see where everyone is at and where they have their finger on the pulse. A lot of people believe Ottawa is going to be a playoff contender this year. A lot of people believe that with the personnel that they have, with the new coach, with the mindset more than anything. It really does feel like enough is enough. That's not to say it ever was like, okay, we can throw in the towel. Of course not. Yep. But there's a different kind of buzz. There's a different kind of feeling. There's a lot of excitement around this team. So that's the feeling I've been getting, is that Ottawa is a legitimate playoff contender. People still want to see what Montreal can bring. I feel like they just want to see how the season goes, maybe the first couple of games. Obviously, Patrick Laine, what kind of Laine are you going to get? Like, what is that going to look like? But, for me, Ottawa seems like playoffs. Montreal could be sniffing around for sure.
Andi, we look forward to talking hockey and soccer with you as we get through the new year. Have a great day.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Andi Petrillo. Of course, she'll be one of the hosts on Amazon Monday Night Hockey. If you don't know that Sportsnet, at least in Canada, sold their rights to that. So order games on Mondays. I think it's 4. I don't know the exact ones yet. I think it's 4. But those will only be available on Amazon Prime to you for this coming season. So be prepared. Just letting you know in advance. Be prepared. We'll return. 5 questions. Gregor, Brown, Halley with you on Sports 1440 Orders Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Doubleheader of the NFL if you want to get into it. Cincinnati and the Bills are the 2 favorites. Will they both win? Oof. You would think, but then again, did you see all the upsets in the NFL this weekend? It's crazy. You never know. Good luck at PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the water hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for. Call Mr. Rooter.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction and sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Sipping gin and juice, just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments flipping all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU. Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And now the value is better than ever. Don't miss your chance to pay what Ford employees pay during the factory authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing on all vehicles, like savings up to $16,000 on Super Duty models. It's Ford employee pricing, but only until September 30th, where cars always cost less. Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
As a farmer, you can't afford to take any more risks than you already do. That's why you choose InVigor Hybrid Canola from BASF. It's not just the patented pod shatter reduction and clubroot resistant hybrids. It's the performance you trust to deliver year after year. This season, we're adding 3 new early maturing hybrids that are designed for your fields. So get ready to test the limits of your bins. See your retailer today and find out why InVigor has the top 3 hybrids in Alberta.
Welcome back. Monday. Man, it is game day. There's lots happening. MLB games, of course, the final week of MLB season. You've got some the Padres. Don't sleep on the Padres. They got the best record since the All-Star break. The Detroit Tigers have come out of nowhere. They had the 4th worst record in the American League on August 8th. Now they've had the best record in the AL since, and now they're in the playoff position. The Mets have climbed their way back into the playoff spot. It's, you know what, those top teams that have been there, man, there's going to be no easy outs in the first round. I love the playoffs, man. In every sport, I don't care. It's so awesome to watch. And then you throw in the NFL, wacky weekend it was. Who thought the Panthers and the Giants would win? Like the Redskins, my apologies, but the Commanders could win tonight. The way the Bengals are playing, you never know. God, I need Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Come on. But, the Bills and the Jaguars, there's always some zany stuff that happens in those Bills-Jags games. So then you got a double dose of orders now. They're not on TV, but they are on Orders Plus if you want to watch the home game. And you can watch the road game on Flames website. Order fans, either one is available for you to stream, which, of course, for many of you, you just pick it up on your TV now and boom. You can. So I guess you can watch it on your TV. It's just not on a TV channel. So there you go. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where saving you more is what they do all the time. And their semi-annual sale is on now. It ends tonight, $1,400 off. Sectionals, you can get $400 off of big screen TVs, 60% off sofas. Check it out. Ends tonight at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. We got the split squad game, Calgary, Edmonton. Maybe a 2-parter here. Is it fair to expect both teams to win at home, or do you see any upsets? And maybe who are you watching as well?
I think that there probably won't be any upsets. I'm assuming that. I mean, yeah, when young guys and guys that are trying to make the lineup, you know that they're going to play with a ton of energy. They got a lot to play for, and not that McDavid and some of the more established guys don't, because you definitely don't want to go into a game, loose, because then obviously you could get hurt. So, but I mean, McDavid playing and some of the better players playing against some guys that are minor league players and maybe some junior guys, I expect them to, pretty much have their way. So I don't expect any upsets or anything.
Yeah, theoretically, I would say it's home teams to win. I think that's what I picked in my GDB. But there's always a few kind of surprises. It is the the preseason, and not everybody's always ready to roll. I think it's safe to say. So, Edmonton doesn't have any NHL goalies playing in either game, so maybe that's a factor. We'll find out. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if the Oilers' home team lost. I'll say that. And the Oilers do have like a pretty good line going in Calgary, but they'll be in tough. So yeah, I'll pick the home team, Scott. It's boring, but I think it's accurate, at least early in the preseason.
All right. I want to say this very boldly. It's one preseason game. Do you have any takeaways from yesterday's win? Knowing, again, it's just one preseason game.
My takeaway is that there's only 7 preseason games left, which is great. There is nothing I would take away from, first of all, how many guys in that lineup are going to play for the Edmonton Oilers this year. Ty Emberson for sure. After that, I don't know. So not much to take away from there other than, you know what? I think Sam O'Reilly is going to have a really good junior season. That's what I'll say. Sam O'Reilly, I think that's a kid who just keeps improving. Oilers fans are going to watch him in the OHL this year and be like, hey, this guy's going to be pretty good.
I guess I would take away that some of the young guys and O'Reilly being one of them, Matthew Savoy looked good, right? They were handling the puck. They came as advertised, and they're supposed to be skilled guys that, make plays and look like they feel comfortable with the puck. So that's a good takeaway for me.
Question number 3 for you guys. Vince Carter's number 15 will be retired by the Toronto Raptors this season. In the next 10 years, how many more retired Raptors jerseys will join it in the rafters?
I'm not too sure. I mean, I know Kawhi Leonard didn't spend a lot of time, but he brought a championship to the Raptors. Does he fall into that? I would have to. He played such a big role in bringing a championship to the Raptors. I mean,
but it wasn't to me. You got to play for an organization a long time to have your jersey retired by that organization. That's just me. So if it was me running the organization, now Kyle Lowry, his jersey will get retired.
Yeah,
for the Raptors. It depends on what they look at. Chris Bosh, maybe, I guess so. But you don't need to just retire everybody's jersey because you had a good feeling around them. That's like, to me, there's something kind of sacred about it. That's my own.
But he brought a championship.
I understand that, but the team brought the championship. He was a big player. There's no doubt about it. Very key part in it. But Pascal Siakam was good. Lowry, like that. A lot of guys were good. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. He's kind of like a hired gun for 1 year and it worked great. I don't know. To me, the retired jersey doesn't just represent a 1 year thing. So I wouldn't do it if I was the Raptors, but I don't know what they're going to do.
We all agree Kyle Lowry?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Question number 4 for you. Despite being benched over the weekend, the BC Lions will keep Nathan Rourke as their starting quarterback. Obviously, Vernon Adams has been there all year. And Rourke came back, got the starting job, paid a lot of money. Do you guys think there's any chance there could be a divide in the BC Lions room?
I don't think so. I think that Rourke is brought back and paid well and paid enough to, they brought him back to be the starting quarterback. So I think that, isn't that kind of very similar to the Trey Ford, where it's like, if he's going to be your guy, you kind of have to go with him a little bit. And I think that's the expectation throughout the team. And so I don't see there being an issue myself.
I don't know if athletes think that way. I've never really got that impression, right? They just look, and I don't think there's that much jealousy or envy in healthy locker rooms to say, oh, well, this guy's getting a little bit more, and now we're not going to like him. They just want to win, and whoever's playing better, they're probably happy with. But you know what? The truth is, in the CFL now, you probably need 2 quarterbacks. Now, financially, I don't think they can keep both of them long term. But so I'd be surprised if it causes a divide, unless one was a real POS.
Final question for you guys. On this day in 1962, ABC's first colored TV show aired, The Jetsons. So I want to ask you, looking back,
The Jetsons was the first colored TV. Oh no, that was the first cartoon.
That's
color TV show.
That's what my website said.
The first color TV was Jetsons
for ABC.
Oh, okay. Didn't
go
know
back
that.
and
No, I just learned something. I didn't know that.
Well, take it with a grain of salt. It might not be true, but it leads me to my question. Growing up, what was your favorite cartoon as a kid? You can give me 1 to 3, and a little caveat here. I also want to know, you guys both have kids. What was one cartoon you kind of liked watching with your kids?
It was cartoons, Cons, in 1962. They were initially only broadcasted the cartoon shows in color.
Okay.
So there you have it. The Jetsons, Flintstones, Beanie and Cecil, one of Low Tide's Brownie's favorites. Your top 3 cartoons when I was a kid. Well, Flintstones for sure. Looney Tunes Saturday mornings was unbelievable. And because Looney Tunes now for younger generation, but they used to be like the Looney Tunes had Bugs Bunny and Daffy and Elmer Fudd and everybody in it, right? Foghorn Leghorn, Tasmanian Devil was all of them. It was unbelievable. So I will go with those two. And I guess if I had to pick a third favorite cartoon as a kid, ooh, God, I'm trying to think of any other ones.
Tom and Jerry?
Garfield.
Oh, that's what I forgot about Garfield. I'll go with Tom and Jerry, Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Nice.
you know what I used to like was, and they weren't on as often, but the raccoons.
Oh, God. Yeah. The raccoons on Sunday night. Bert. Oh, man. Here's Bert and Ralph, Melissa. Oh,
that's funny. Yeah.
What about Fraggle Rock? I just like the theme song to Fraggle Rock on Sunday nights, right? After, because it used to be Disney, right? Remember Walt Disney was on?
Yeah.
On Sundays, that was great. But then Fraggle Rock would come on, and they had like the crazy intro, down to Fraggle Rock, and they're all just going crazy. God, I love the intro as a kid. It was fun. Now, if I was going when I was really little, then I'm going Sesame Street for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, you ask about kids.
Yeah,
Our kids,
yeah.
I don't know about your son, but my son used to watch the Wiggles a lot.
No Wiggles. No, your son's about a decade older than my son. So
okay.
no, there's no Wiggles for my son. He what did he like when he was little? Trying to think. Well, he had these videos on like just big trucks. He used to watch it all the time, and there was like 3 parts, and it was like just a video ensemble of that. But we definitely. All I know is that little bald cue ball was never allowed on our TV. The negative Caillou, God, it was the worst cartoon of all time. So I think I watched it twice, and I'm like, we're never playing that show. It was just whiny. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But you know what's a really good question. I can't remember what he liked. He didn't watch a ton of cartoons at a young age. Even now, little bit. It's more the movies though. Like there's not a lot of great cartoon shows, I find.
Yeah.
Right? There seems to be more like the movies that you watch. Did get him to watch E.T. and like his dad cried. So
you know what was funny when we were over in Europe? We used to bring a lot of CDs over there because we never had the TV.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
We weren't going to pay for a TV. We weren't going to use or watch. But anyway, we used to watch Batman and Robin.
Like the old school ones?
Bam!
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Spider-Man. Oh, that'd be another cartoon. God. Electro. Remember, my favorite Spider-Man episodes was when he would fight Electro as well as the Vulcan and the Goblin. Right? Those are the greatest. They'd team up. Or the Rhino would come in, Mr. Sandman. Oh. Now I could watch Spider-Man again. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Oh, sick. Cons, did you watch those?
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Who was your favorite villain?
I don't know. I've recently more got into watching the new Spider-Man with my nephews. Rhino.
Oh yeah, Rhino's great.
But I don't know the old one. I'm not sure. Wasn't the top of my cartoon watching.
Brown, did you have a favorite villain in Spider-Man?
Not really. No, I can't think of. No,
you're just out in the street fighting kids.
Just causing trouble.
Yeah, that's what we learned today.
Yeah.
Brownie was he tried to downplay it. How many fights he got?
I never said that. Every kid who hasn't been in a fight when they were a kid. I'm not going to sit there and say I was a troublemaker, but I mean, I think we all found trouble when we were younger.
Sounded like there was a few.
No, I'm not trying.
So did you fight behind the hill, or was it the bike racks like in Ontario? Or you guys did that even occur in Ontario? Kind of soft out there. So what happened?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the amount of fights that I've been in, but I mean, obviously, I played a lot of different sports and different things like that.
No, I'm not talking in sports.
I know, but on the playground and stuff like that, that was it's kids.
Did you ever lose one bad that you remember?
Fights?
Yeah.
As a kid, not that I can remember.
Did you ever win one really good that you remember?
Nothing that I mean, you're just young, right? So
you never had an arch nemesis?
No.
Like Billy?
No.
From across the street?
No, I actually, I think a lot of, why I was probably successful in sports in general was the street that I grew up on, because we had so many kids. Like we had a school right beside our house. So there was a ton of young families. So there were so many kids. There was always a game going on. If you weren't playing road hockey, you were playing baseball, you were playing basketball. And I think my street, especially being, one of the younger ones, you get to play with a lot of different kids. Right. And so that's something that's actually missed in today's society, right? You don't see kids playing as much as, or running around.
I'm lucky, man. We got two brothers to the left of us, two brothers across the street.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, they play all the time. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Tracker's a big one now. There's a little.
Are they still doing that?
They love
we used to play that,
especially now that they're older and they can kind of get it dusk when it gets a little dark out.
That's
fantastic. Awesome. And it's not wiffle ball, but their blitz ball is big right now.
Blitz is fun.
Blitz ball.
Yeah. See, I live on
I literally just have to send my ladder so I can climb up to the roof to get the blitz ball.
See, you live in a nice neighborhood where there's lots of people around you. I live on an acreage where there's less people.
Hey, buddy, I grew up on the farm. I used to play we'd play scrub, 3 kids. That's how it went, right? You figured it out, right? One pitcher, one fielder, one batter. A lot of ghost runners.
Is that what you called it? Scrub? We call it Burby.
Oh, yeah, no, we just call it scrub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's great. Hey, guys, I can't believe Connor didn't pick the Smurfs as his favorite.
Why?
Dan? Well, it's maybe suggesting you're short. I'm not sure, but either way, I got it. Brownie and I thought it was funny.
I don't think Brownie laughed.
Oh,
confused face.
Connor, you can't see me. I can't even see Connor.
I could tell by the wrinkles on your forehead. It was
I heard Brownie laugh.
Confusion.
Yeah. Brownie, did you have a favorite Smurf? Not Smurf
I don't know. Papa Smurf.
You're more of a brainy with your glasses right now. You're kind of like the brainy Smurf.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. Smurf is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Smurf
nothing
is
wrong
good.
with
Gargamel. There's nothing wrong with that.
Classic.
Oh, it is a classic. A lot of people like now SpongeBob was after me. I was a little too old. I don't ever remember SpongeBob. Hey guys, Jetsons. How come nobody voted for that one?
Jetsons were good. Yeah.
Jetsons were good. What about Hercules? Oh, from Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newton. Toot. Oh, God. Newton he might have been the most annoying character I found. He didn't bug me.
Well, that was the guy that used to put his ring up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of
Brownie, have yourself a good one. Enjoy the doubleheader. We will chat with you next Monday.
Maybe I'll see you tonight.
We might see you tonight. Yeah. Go enjoy the volleyball game coming hot. Don't get a ticket. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer and warm up in the winter. Get your furnace at legacyheating.ca. Good job, Brownie. Good stuff, buddy.
It's game day. We got a split squad matchup tonight down at Rogers Place. Also at the Saddle Dome is the Oilers taking on the Flames. Both games get going at 7 o'clock. Minnesota Wild forward Matt Boldy has been listed as week to week with a lower body injury, putting his status for the season opener on October 10th in jeopardy. Week 3 in the NFL will conclude tonight in about 30 minutes. You got the Jags and Bills meeting in Orchard Park. Then at 6:15, Bengals host the Commanders. Derwin James has been suspended for 1 game for repeated headshots. That coming down from NFL Communications. Major League Baseball later tonight. The Jays taking on the Red Sox. First pitch, about 5 minutes. Bottom of the second in Philly, the Cubs and Phillies are scoreless. Later tonight, Astros host the Mariners and the Giants taking on the Diamondbacks. The Edmonton Elks have released American defensive back Leon O'Neal Jr. The 25-year-old joined the team this past offseason, making the team as a starting Sam linebacker. He was ejected from Saturday's game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for throwing a punch. And Vince Carter's number will be retired by the Toronto Raptors. It'll go up November 2nd when they host the Sacramento Kings. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
The Brick semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Hurry in, for the sale it only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Put a text out. After 5 o'clock. How are you? Game day, Oilers, Flames. A double dose, 7 o'clock in Edmonton, 7 o'clock in Calgary. If you're going to the game tonight, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Ekholm will be in the Edmonton game. Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique, they will be in Calgary. No Stuart Skinner in either game. No Nurse, no Kulak, no Brown, no Janmark, no Emberson. Expect I know Pickard. Some of those guys will play Wednesday. I know that Janmark and Brown are going to Winnipeg for sure on Wednesday. Maybe Brett Kulak. We'll see. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, you've got preseason action not there, but NFL double Monday nighter. The Bills, the Jags. There's always some craziness in that game. And then you have the Bengals trying to avoid going 0-3 against the Commanders. T. Higgins is back in. Will he make an impact? We shall see. Let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Also, Kevin Woodley's coming up after Spec. We'll preview the Central Division goaltenders and also get some updates on injuries and goalies and more. But Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. They are the underappreciated underground construction company. They do all of it to keep everything that's maybe out of sight, out of mind, but is ultra important. GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing pretty fair. Doubleheader on a Monday night. That's a new thing, isn't it?
Well, they used to do more double. They used to do doubleheaders usually like the first week. They like to do it in the NFL. So this one, week 3 is a little odd. Connor would probably know the exact reason why they opted to do it, but we've seen doubleheaders on Monday night here and there a little bit lately. So not a surprise. They're trying to dominate as many nights as they can in football. They're pretty important in the America and even in Canada for sure. So
okay. Well, we got a doubleheader in hockey here, so I won't see a snap of football tonight, but looking forward to seeing some hockey, Jay.
Yeah, the orders, last night, Spec, we'll get to that quickly. Was there anything that jumped out for you last night at all?
What jumped out? Just a couple of players. I kind of make a vow never to say, "Oh, that guy can't play," because I watched him in a preseason game. Like, sorry, yes, I'm not going to come out of that game exceptionally critical of anyone. I thought Noah Philp grew on me as the game went on. I kind of looked at his skating at first. I thought I'm going to watch him see how he skates, and I wasn't sure. And then I watched him more, and I thought, yeah, okay, he gets where he's going, and he wins puck. He gets to pucks, and he sure won his draws last night. So I liked him. Again, Pod Colson, I wasn't sure. Well, I'll tell you, the play made in overtime was a very assertive play, right? He didn't just stick check the guy. He drilled him, knocked him down, and collected the puck. It went the other way. He was the decoy on a 2-on-1 goal. So I like Pod Colson's game. A few other guys. There were some guys that stood out. What about you?
Yeah, Pod Colson, Philp for me. I was watching Raphael Lavoie closely just to see, like, he's going to shoot the puck. That's his bread and butter. He's a shooter. He'll shoot. His one-timer didn't surprise me. You see him trying to be more physical. The one thing where I look at, and Sean Brown had a really good point. He says, so from the forwards this season, they come in, they go up against the box out, and then that's it. He goes, I don't see a lot of guys spinning off the box out, trying to get new possession, and creating something where the defenseman's got to really force you to get out there. Right. He says, you can't just accept the box out. Like, okay, I'm here. Oh, I got boxed out. Oh, that's okay. Right. Like he says, you got to have that second and third opportunities, especially for guys that are trying to show something. So that's what I'll be watching for tonight a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I heard your conversation with Brownie, and I agree. I mean, the Oilers, listen, there's no top 6 jobs open on this team. What they need is a Brendan Gallagher when he was 21 years old. Right. A guy that won't say no, that gets in people's grill, that'll drill an unsuspecting defenseman when he doesn't expect the hit coming, that is a pain in the ass to play against. The Oilers haven't had a lot of those players in the last 20 years, right? They have not had a lot of buzzsaw, pain in the rear end guys. And everyone would love one. There's room on this team for one. Corey Perry in his prime. There's room on the team, but I'm not sure they got that guy, Jay.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. There's not a lot of them in the league. I understand that, but you know what? You go out and try to find those guys because it brings you a different element in the sleepy games. And I do find that those guys can stir up the game and change momentum because it just elevates the animosity. So you might have guys who don't initiate it, but suddenly somebody comes out there and starts, you chirping or yapping at one of your teammates, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, screw you, calm down. And all of a sudden they're elevated a little bit, right? Like Brad Marchand was famous at doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Lucic telling me, goes, man, there are games. It's hard to be in every game. And then all of a sudden Marchand's doing something. And then you're just, all of a sudden you're like, well, I got to get in the game now. Like I got to protect Brad Marchand, and boom, I'm in the game. And it brings guys, McDavid's just desire and work ethic elevates players, but there's different ways to do it. And Corey Perry can face wash someone, but you watch Corey Perry spec. And when Sean Brown is explaining, even at his age, watch Corey Perry and how many just that little greasy extra poke check, extra little push. And it just gets guys a little bit more off their game or more engaged either way.
Well, for me, it's about a team that needs more than one way to get some momentum. I heard Brownie talking about San Jose on a Tuesday night in the middle of the schedule, right?
Yeah.
This team, fighting is almost out the door. Like it used to be, you had a guy that go out and have a fight, get everybody going. Those days are over. This team really has only one way to get up and get excited and get some momentum and find a new level. And that's by someone making a great offensive play. There's not like, I know in the game inside the game, like a guy blocks a shot and the bench gets excited about that. But I'm with you. I'd love to see a guy that can light a fire under this team without it being a great offensive player, a goal that goes in the net. It would be nice to have a player out there coming off your third or fourth line that can take up, that can read the tea leaves and say, hey, my team's a little flat. I better go out and drill somebody. Or my team's a little flat. I'm going to go knock their goalie over. Or I'm going to go stand over their best guy. Or I'm, something, right? Something. Mm-hmm. The Oilers haven't had enough of that in their lineup for a long time. They're a very good team, but that would make them better.
Who I think has the best capability of that is Podkolzin. And you talk about it as like he's a good skater. He's big, man. He's physical. Like the last guy they had like that was probably Klim Kostin. And then they had Cassian for a while. Cassian could do it. Could do it at times. Pat Maroon had a little bit of a jerk factor to him, but when he was here, he's actually a really good goal scorer. But like Klim Kostin would have been the last guy. Bottom six guy who was physical, run around, hit hard, obviously would fight, and then he had a great shot. He scored some huge goals too. So, Podkolzin to me is the wild card spec. And tonight he's going to play with Draisaitl. Now, I'm not expecting him to be a second line guy to start the season, but if one of their top six forwards gets injured, Lavoie and Podkolzin might be the best two shooters on the rest of the organization. So I kind of don't mind that line tonight, just to give Lavoie and Podkolzin. Let's see what they can do with Draisaitl. I know it's only one game. It's going to maybe be like 10 or 12 minutes of ice time together, but I'm intrigued by that.
Listen, Lavoie deserves a shot. Like I've said on this show already 10 times, he's playing for the rest of the league here. I'd love to see him go out and rifle home a few goals tonight. And if he doesn't make the Oilers, someone picks him up on waivers this time instead of him clearing. And Podkolzin, in my opinion, makes this team because he's waiver eligible. But I'm with you that he is probably the one guy on that bottom six that if someone gets hurt up top, you want him ready and going and confident so he can step into that spot. He's got to earn it. Like, you can't, let's say one of your top six wingers gets hurt. You can't just hand the job to some kid who just showed up last week because the other veteran guys go, whoa, wait, Connor Brown, been working my ass off here, right? Giving you everything I got. I've been a good player. I'm producing. I'm blocking shots. I'm killing penalties. And now there's a little bit of sugar time and you're giving it to some guy who just walked in the door. Like that's how dressing rooms work to an extent. So it can be Podkolzin's job if someone gets hurt, but he's got to be ready for it. He's got to have played well in the bottom six. He's got to have his confidence. It's like the old Jesse Puljujarvi thing. Put him on McDavid's line. Yeah, it never worked that way, did it?
No.
And I got to say, I watched that hat trick Puljujarvi had the other day. He looked fantastic. So good luck
he's
to
a
him.
young player. Yeah, he's only 26 years of age, right? Young player.
He looked great the other night, man. And he's healthier. They say he's a little bit bigger. He had a summer where he could train. You know what? I'm cheering for him. I know people don't believe it, but I'm cheering for him.
Yeah, well, I just remember, Spec, that preseason, I put zero impact. Ty Ratty didn't Jesse Puljujarvi have a hat trick once in the preseason?
Yeah, maybe.
A few years ago. So I it's great that guys score in preseason. It's never a bad thing, but it does not mean they're going to have regular season success. I hope for his sake he does, but I don't care if an Oiler player scores 3 goals tonight who's not usually a scorer. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this guy's suddenly got to be in their top 6, right?
I hear you.
I got to be very cautious about that. Now, you look at tonight, obviously we're going to see 40 players on 2 different rosters. Is there, outside of Podkolzin and Lavoie, is there anybody else you'll be watching closely, either in Edmonton or on the highlights from the Calgary game, and looking for something from them specifically?
Ooh, that's a good question, Jason. Who am I looking to do something more? I mean, I guess I'm wondering, Emberson is not playing tonight, right?
No, he's not playing tonight.
Okay. So, I think that Troy Stetcher's getting totally overlooked here. I feel like this Emberson is the new flavor of the month. He came in on a trade and everyone loves him. Nobody knows a thing about him, but they love him anyway. And, I'm not here to rip him. If he's better than Stetcher, give him the job. He's earned it. Good for him. But I kind of feel like Troy Stetcher's the forgotten guy. He's played almost 500 games in the league. And a lot of people are just handing that job to a guy who's played 30 games in Emberson over Stetcher. So I have a feeling that if I'm Troy Stetcher at this camp, I got something to prove here. I want people to know that, hey, I've been around a while. I could do that job too.
Okay, I don't mind that. Josh Brown, it's hard in a game like last night's Spec, but obviously he's very noticeable. He's big. You know what? I look at him and Stetcher, and if they're going to kind of rotate, you could see a Brown play the bigger physical teams, Stetcher play a little bit more of the skating teams, right? Might seem too simple, but I could see a situation like that playing out.
Yeah, that's fair. I watched Brown fairly intently on several shifts last night, and I thought, he's not a speedster by any means, but he's the big guy with the long stride that can cover some ground. Like, again, he's playing against AHL players, but he had no problem getting in position last night. So I'm not telling you he's fast, but I'm telling you that he gets where he needs to go on time. At least he did in that game. So for me, that's going to always be his thing. Like, he's not a points guy. He's not a skill guy. He's a third pairing defenseman. We all know that. But if his foot speed becomes an issue, he can't play, because this is a really fast team, and the teams they have to beat to get somewhere are really fast teams. So for one game in a row, I didn't mind Josh Brown. I'll be very interested to see how a guy with his size and foot speed holds up when you start playing some speedy NHL players.
Yeah, I think that's totally valid, right? Like, there's going to be times where, speed's an issue. So that's why positioning, reach will play a factor. Like, he's 6'5", but he's a big 6'5" Spec. Like, he's got really long arm. Like, he covers up more space, right? And so that could help him a little bit. Like, Vincent Desharnais, rarely saw anybody really get by him, right? Because he covers so much ground, and then it's hard, right? Like, as long as he's not getting caught in the wide open spaces where, sure, a speedy guy coming at you, it's going to be a problem. But yeah, Brown's an interesting one for me. The other one is, I look at, Lane Peterson tonight in Calgary, and like what do you think he needs to do? Because we talk about, okay, you've got Derek Ryan, and you know what you get from Derek Ryan, but you also know what you don't get potentially. Then there's Philp, and then there's Hamlin, and then there's Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Peterson's the most gifted offensively, but maybe the weakest defensively, and I wonder if that hurts him or not.
Well, as a fourth line center, what's more important, right? Your defensive work or your offensive work? I think we both know the answer to that. So that's a funny position on the Oilers, because I think that it's pretty much whatever happens, that position belongs to Derek Ryan for one more season. And then after that, it's wide open, right? He's got one more year left on his deal, Derek Ryan. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, $900K.
Right. So it's a friendly contract. Absolutely, he's worth that. At that money, Derek Ryan can play for my team. But he's getting older. He's getting slower. He's not that big. I'm going to tell you that he's probably got a year left in that position on this team. And then a guy like Noah Philp, who's 6'3" and a lot younger, who's a right-hand shot, he's a year from now, he's really going to press for that. Peterson, absolutely. Like, he's looking at that job, maybe not today, but in the next calendar year. Peterson says, hey, there's a fourth line center job open here. I think because of their size, both those guys have a leg up on Hamblin, who I like a lot, but Hamblin's really a young version of Derek Ryan. If I could pick a body type, it's now, is Lane Peterson right or left-hand shot?
Peterson's a right shot.
Right shot. I want a right-hand shot in that position because my top two centers are always going to be lefties. And that means Peterson and Philp are two guys. They're both big. I haven't seen enough of Peterson to know how he is in the circle. Philp was very good last night. They say he's very good in the circle. That's a huge job for a fourth line center. You got to be good at your draws because you're killing penalties. That means a lot of D-zone draws. But to me, that's kind of a rented job. It's Ryan's, but it's only Ryan's for now, Jay. It's going to be open. It's going to be open soon.
Yeah, I could see this is I think Noah Philp's going to play games with Edmonton before Christmas. I'm not sold it'll be out of training camp. I think they'll probably get a month under his belt. But I just think everything about him, when you throw in age, size, speed, all those things, I could see Noah Philp getting some time in Edmonton before, because you look at a guy like Stenlund in Florida, Spec. Big body, didn't have any offense, but man, he was good on faceoffs. He's a good penalty killer. He played a really good fourth line role for Florida.
He was good. Yep.
And
he was.
I think that's what Edmonton's looking for. There's no doubt in my mind that Derek Ryan, I'll be stunned if he's their fourth line center when the playoffs begin. I'll say that.
Okay. You think it happens before next season. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, we're on the same path here. The point is, it's probably Ryan's job for now, but it's not his job for much longer. So if I'm Peterson, if I'm Philp, if I'm Havlin, there's a big light at the end of this tunnel here. There's a job there for me if I can earn it.
Spec, we'll see you at the rink. Have a good one.
All right, Jake.
There you go. That's Mark Spector in the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, Kevin Woodley, lots of goaltending. You always learn something when we have Woodley on. He'll join us next in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these fine folks from the swift completion of their appointed work, or something like that. They're the fine folks at GS Construction, and they do like to do their job, which could be infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and dedicated maintenance and emergency repairs. Interested in working for such a fine outfit? GS Construction is always on the lookout for great workers. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the time to think about winterizing your RV is before the snow flies. There's a lot of steps you need to take to winterize your trailer or motorhome.
And you have to get every step right every single time. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob, because if you make even a little mistake, you might not realize it till spring. And by then, it's too late to fix what you got wrong.
Hey, Rick, do you winterize your own trailer?
Not anymore, Bob. I hired people who are smarter than me. Genius technicians who check every component. Dozens of systems to be maintained and protected. And today, we offer that service to you, starting at $99. Every winterization package comes with a full report in writing, so you know what to expect come spring. If you're confident to do it yourself, have at it. If you're like me and you'd rather have this done by somebody who knows what they're doing, then come to Noble, and we'll take care of you.
And that's Noble. NobleRV.ca.
Seven. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. We continue on our goalie report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. They are, of course, Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, 13 times award winner in sales and service. If you're looking for a great vehicle, some great prices right now, blow up prices, save up to $8,000 off a Volvo XC90 2024s right now at volvocarsedmonton.com. As our weekly Monday guest, talking all things goaltending, Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com joins us once again. Woodley, how you doing?
I'm good, Jason. Yourself?
Ooh, fantastic, man. Now, before we get to the Central, just a quick update. You got the specific injury on Demko and your boy, your up-and-comer, Lankinen signs at 875 in Vancouver. So give me the injury to Demko, and obviously Lankinen's pretty good signing for them.
Bargain, absolute bargain for Kevin Lankinen, considering where I had him coming into the summer as a UFA, just barely behind Stolarz and Brossoit statistically, and look like a guy that's ready to pop. So why do they need him, you may ask? Well, there's a fair amount of uncertainty around Thatcher Demko's knee injury, which, as he said, we sort of finally got it completely. Demko met with the media last week on Thursday, did a great job. Wasn't a part of training camp in terms of being with the team, but was out there skating on his own. And I got to give him credit with all the speculation around him, rather than just having the team send out a release. He very specifically wanted to be the one that addressed it and sort of got rid of some of the uncertainty. And yet at the end of the interview, there was a lot of uncertainty, including, other than him saying it was a muscle, as opposed to, a meniscus or a ligament tear in his knee. And we were able to clarify that it's called the popliteus, and it's a small muscle at the back of the knee. It's sort of deep behind the other larger muscles in the calf back there. It's been called the key to the knee because it unlocks the knee from a straight position. The good news is you don't have to unlock the knee from a straight position very often as a goaltender. The only time you're straight-legged is when you're resting. But it's a stabilizer, and it sort of helps with rotation of the knee to prevent the meniscus from getting caught in there. So there is, the first thing you see when you look it up is a injury time frame recovery window of 3 to 16 weeks. So nothing like a 3-week to 4-month injury. And that's, I think, where a lot of the uncertainty has come from here. Him needing to shut it down, as he said on last Thursday, for a month when things weren't going good earlier this summer. But in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's really ramped up. And I think he might be trending to be towards possibly being ready at the start of the season, but getting Lankinen means there's no rush. And so they can let him rest and recover fully. And it also means they have an insurance policy in case, because of the uncertain nature of this injury, and there's no hockey players documented to have had it, that they were able to find, no goalies for sure. And so because of that uncertainty, they felt like they needed an insurance policy with more games in the NHL than what they have right now, which is 17 regular season between Artur Shilovs and Yuri Patera combined.
All right. So now let's get to the Central, and we always do the rankings from 8 to 1. So who is and this is the goalie rankings. It includes the top 2, and he also includes a third stringer for each organization because he thinks at some point you're going to play him. So who is 8 for you?
This is a tough one. This is like the murky middle division. Like you've got a couple of teams at the top, clearly from a goaltending perspective, and you've got a bunch of guys that are sort of right around league average as a tandem, like when you group them together. And in the list I would include in that, I could almost do like 5 teams that are all similar. And it might surprise some people to hear that list includes Dallas, includes Colorado. At the end of the day, right now at the bottom of it, and it's more to do with team environment, although I expect that to take a step this year, I sort of got to put Chicago. And I don't know if I'd have them there if Laurent Brossoit was actually healthy to start the season, but he's not at camp. He's had a procedure on his knee. I don't know what the time frame looks like. It could be into the season before he gets there. Peter Mrazek was really good for them last year, but I just don't know that the environment in terms of where they are as a team, it almost feels like a cop-out, personally, Jason, to put them at the bottom of the division. I think Mrazek deserves more credit than that. We know what Brossoit is capable of, but with him unhealthy and with Soderblom struggling behind those two, at least last season when he did get a taste, amongst a group of 5 that are really even, I just slot them in at the bottom of it.
Okay. So Chicago 8, followed by
Minnesota. And this may be disappointing for some people to hear. I'm a big Marc-Andre Fleury guy. And yet his numbers dipped last season. We've seen sometimes under the pressure of playoffs where his performance has dipped even further. And you're going to have, this is the going away tour. So there's going to be that added pressure. And I still think he's a guy at times that tries a little too hard when the pressure moments are up, can do a little extra, can be a little busy. This one, I kind of hope he turns it and makes me look like an idiot for having said that. I really do, because one of my favorite goalies in the game. I love the flair he plays with. I think he's always looking to improve and trying to find new things. I think that Philip Gustafsson behind him was one of the best goalies in the NHL 2 years ago and was below expected last season. So very much as a tandem, they could make me look bad for this early season ranking. Jesper Wallstedt is also a promising prospect behind them, but they don't have a lot of experience after that. Troy Grosnick, a guy who I think showed he could play in the NHL with LA, but that was years ago. So This is one that I could end up looking bad on and almost hope I do. But when I look at the numbers from last year, both guys grade out actually below expected combined, and that's not great for the Minnesota Wild.
Okay. Ooh, I like that one. So who's 6?
Sorry, I got to flip a page and check my list because I'm going through 6 different pages of notes as I go through this. I was detailed when I dug into this.
Yeah, I like it.
Arizona, and again, another one, like, it's the volatility in the position can be frustrating. Vejmelka was fantastic 2 years ago, and the bottom fell out last year. Negative, relative to environment, negative 0.5. Ingram was good, but the more he played, the more the numbers sort of started to settle down a little bit. Again, combined, like a lot of this division, when you add those two up, they grade out right at 0, right at expected, right about what you average for the goaltending. And Arizona's there. I know they've made improvements as a team, but I'm not sure it's enough to prop the goaltending up.
So the Minnesota one's quite intriguing to me. So now you look at, do you have St. Louis 5th?
You're going to be shocked where I have St. Louis, Jason.
Oh, I know you like Binnington. Okay, so who do you got 5th? Colorado.
Colorado and Dallas are like neck and neck. And in both cases, it's because their number one goaltender seriously underperformed expectations last year. In the case of Alexander Georgiev, he was minus 0.6% at the end of the year. I thought he really turned it around in the playoffs. Justus Annunen as a backup has the potential to really prop up that tandem. I also believe that Georgiev will have a bounce back this season because they've learned the lesson of last year where they played the wheels off him early and he fell apart. He had a really strong start to last season, and they just kept running him out there. There's no need to this year. Justus Annunen was plus 2.1% in his starts and adjusted save percentage, but they were very measured and very careful about where they put him in there. His expected save percentage was 901, which tells you they did not give him a lot of tough starts, and they're going to have to start giving him some this year. Again, another tandem that could really make me look bad for having them ranked in the middle of the pack. Georgiev 2 years ago, this would be a much higher ranking. But when you look at it last year, it's just a matter of can they sort of get him to a level early and not overplay him? If they do, he could move up the list quite quickly. But right now, based on the way last year, even with a good playoffs, this is where I have him.
Okay. So then you have Dallas at number 4. Now, Jake Ottinger was pretty good in the playoffs, although Stuart Skinner, I thought, outplayed him in the conference final.
Yeah, and Ottinger, again, another guy. I think it would probably surprise people to know that Jake Ottinger was exactly as expected. 47th in the NHL in adjusted save percentage. Basically played right to the environment. Now, not great early, really good late. I thought he was better in the playoffs, and so hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Still a really young goaltender. Learned some lessons about trying too hard. When things started to go badly for him last year, he had a tendency early in the season to try harder. And we've talked about how this is a position where you can't just try harder. You have to let the game come to you. Seemed to be a lesson late in the season talking to him that he learned. So again, Chance, he's a guy that we know what the talent is. And he's a guy that could put them into the top 3 in this conference, maybe even in the division, maybe even in the conference, if he bounces back to where he was 2 seasons ago. The DeSmith signing as a backup's a little curious to me. You obviously in Edmonton remember the second game of the season last year was fantastic. But when they needed him to do more, the numbers kind of fell. By the end of the season, he was 58th in the NHL in adjusted save percentage at minus 1.1%. They give him 3 years there. Wedgwood was so good there 2 years ago, slipped a little last year. They move on from him. DeSmith has the capability of being a really solid backup, but when they needed him to do more in Vancouver, the numbers really took a nosedive. So, that combination of where Jake was overall last year and where DeSmith finished makes it hard to rank them higher right now. But obviously we know what the upside is of Ottinger, that they can shoot up this list quite easily.
Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine and NHL.com joined us. So we've had Chicago, Minnesota, Arizona, Colorado, Dallas. That's ranked from 8th through to 4th, which leaves us with 3 teams. And that has, of course, Winnipeg, Nashville, and St. Louis. Who do you have third?
I have the Nashville Predators third, although, again, I feel like maybe it's just the goalie union guy in me. Everybody could outperform where Kevin has them ranked. I want to eat crow on this one by the end of the season, Jason. Listen, again, I think it would probably surprise some people to know that UC Saros finished barely above expected last season, plus 0.2%. So sort of ranked in the late 30s, early 40s in the league in terms of his performance last year. Kevin Lankinen is a loss. We talked about the Canucks signing. He was top 12 in adjusted save percentage last year. It's so curious that they didn't play him more given how well he played when they put him in net. And so that's a loss for them. They bring in Scott Wedgwood to replace Lankinen. I talked about where Wedgwood was last year. I still really like Scott as a goaltender, though, and I think that goalie coaching staff will find another step for him in Nashville. But when you look at where Saros finished the year last season, it's really hard for me to have them any higher right now.
Okay. So Winnipeg, St. Louis. Are you going to put the Blues at the top because Winnipeg lost their backup goalie?
If I was to just do this on statistics, Jason, and I am leaning heavily, you've heard me reference adjusted save percentage a lot in this, and I think it's all we really have when we look at guys switching teams and stuff like that. It's their per shot metric.
Yeah.
If I was going purely on that, yeah, I would, but I didn't, because Connor Hellebuyck is what Connor Hellebuyck is. And even though he props up a tandem that, lost Laurent Brossoit, Capo Kakinen had a huge step last year. He was plus 0.5% despite spending most of this season behind the Sharks. And Eric Comrie, this is going to surprise some people, but Eric Comrie was plus 0.4%. The problem is nobody could see it in Buffalo last season because his expected save percentage was 858.
Ooh, yeah,
exactly. They fed him to the wolves. Every tough start, he got it. Now, listen, if we start to see some signs that maybe this is a continuing thing and teams don't play well in front of him, then maybe he's got to take blame for it. But I've never seen anything like I did in Buffalo with him in terms of the tough environments he was thrown into. We know how comfortable he is in Winnipeg with a 920 save percentage that earned him that contract in Buffalo for 2 seasons. He's back. He's comfortable. And even if he's a number 3, it's really hard with Hellebuyck, Kakinen, and Comrie for me to not have them as the number 1 ranked sort of goalie group. I was going to say tandem, but 1 through 3 in the Central Division. St. Louis, honestly, Binnington was plus 1.8%. Hofer was plus 1.3 last season. The only thing that those numbers add up to better than what the Jets have this year just based on stats, but for all those other reasons, I flip-flop them. And then the other part is behind those two, the St. Louis Blues do not have a lot of NHL experience. Winnipeg sort of has that. So that sort of tips it in Winnipeg's favor, the depth as well as the quality of having a Connor Hellebuyck at the top of your depth chart.
Okay, we look forward to it. We have 2 more next Monday. We're going to do the Atlantic, and then we will finish off with the Pacific Division on the Tuesday right before the start of the NHL regular season. I'm sure Wild fans, I didn't put your hashtag so Wild fans wouldn't freak out, but I'm sure Wild fans are going to see their number 7 and get upset, which is great. But I like you backing up with some numbers, and if we all agreed, that would be boring. So we'll look forward to see how the season goes, Kevin. Then also next week, we'll talk a little bit about, preseason for goalies and what they look for and can it be difficult and all those sorts of things coming up next week as well. Have a great day.
Yeah, I've got my first preseason game tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. I'll make sure to have a few of those conversations. So when I talk about it, it'll be a little more educated next week.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
There you go. That's Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine at NHL.com. We'll return. We'll wrap things up. We'll give you the lineups for tonight in case you missed it. 2 games. Oilers split squad, 1 in Edmonton, 1 in Calgary. That and more. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. A lot of text to get to as well. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. Your partner in power since 1976. And they got their 24/7 website where you can order all the electrical gear you want. EWEL.ca.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
The Brick semi-annual sale is back. For 4 days only, take advantage of incredible deals in every department, like up to 40% off mattresses, up to 30% off bedroom dining furniture, and up to 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair at ticket price. Plus, find up to $1,400 off sectionals and up to $400 off big screen TVs. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. Hurry in for the sale. It only happens twice a year at the Brick, saving you more.
Hey there. It's your friends from Toyota. We see you eyeing that Tundra, already picturing yourself hauling so much firewood that your chainsaw's hiding behind the shed. It's time to stop dreaming about that new Toyota and start driving one. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $154 weekly for 60 months at 4.99% with $6,299 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the time to think about winterizing your RV is before the snow flies. There's a lot of steps you need to take to winterize your trailer or motorhome.
And you have to get every step right every single time. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob, because if you make even a little mistake, you might not realize it till spring. By then, it's too late to fix what you got wrong.
Hey, Rick, do you winterize your own trailer?
Not anymore, Bob. I hired people who are smarter than me. Genius technicians who check every component, dozens of systems to be maintained and protected. And today, we offer that service to you, starting at $99. Every winterization package comes with a full report in writing, so you know what to expect come spring. If you're confident to do it yourself, have at it. If you're like me and you'd rather have this done by somebody who knows what they're doing, then come to Noble, and we'll take care of you.
And that's Noble.
NoBullRV.ca.
Continuing on. Lovely Monday afternoon. Busy day in the world of sports. Oiler fans, you get a Battle of Alberta double dip tonight. It'd be great if there was a little bit of animosity in one of those cities, but I don't know. I don't see a lot of it in the lineup for either team, to be honest. But hey, we'll see. Maybe someone will surprise us. Come out of nowhere. Be nice to see. Nothing wrong with a little animosity now and then in a preseason game. I think it could be quite good. So see what happens. Bills get off to an early lead as James Cook has the touchdown, and they are up 6-0 over the Jaguars. And later tonight, you have the Bengals and the Washington Commanders. A lot of text flying in our EWL inbox, 833-401-1440. The game tonight, tonight's game, Wednesday's game. If you want to see those games on television channels, that won't happen until next Monday against Vancouver. The Vancouver games are on Sportsnet. The rest will be on Oilers Plus, except tonight's game in Calgary. That will be, if you want to watch the road version of the Oilers, it'll be at the Flames website. I think it's Calgary. Flames.nhl.com is what I'm pretty sure it is. So there you go. If you missed it earlier today, the lineup tonight for the Edmonton Oilers at home will have McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl is going to center Pod Coles and Raphael Lavoie. Noah Philp with Perry and Petrov. Wakely with Griffith and Clattenburg. Ekholm and Bouchard. Hoffenmeyer and Kemp. And then Corcoran will play with Canuck Liepert. And Olivier Rodrigue will get the start in goal. On the road, you will see Henrique centering Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner. And now the other lines not 100% sure on. Might see O'Reilly with Cajul and Savoy. There's Peterson, Hoffman, Ryan, Gruby, Weatherby, and Stefan. But again, I'm not 100% sure on those line combinations. Those are the players playing. Dermott and Brown, Deneen and Stetcher, Gleason and Wayner. And then in goal will be Delia and Day. So no Pickard, no Skinner yet for the Edmonton Oilers. I was looking at Skinner's numbers last year, played about 2.5 games. So you know what? I could see Skinner maybe starting 3, 2 for Pickard. Will Skinner go to Winnipeg on Wednesday? Maybe. My gut would say no. It's a day trip. It's a little bit longer of a day trip than obviously going to Calgary or to Vancouver. So they'll look at it, and then if not, you could play Skinner Saturday, Monday, and then the final game if you wanted to. We'll see what they do, but they could. Skinner is not porcelain doll. He could easily go to Winnipeg if they want to. Right? Well, we will find out. We will find out. So those are the lines. There you have it, and the rosters, everything else. Hey guys, at 3-0 with a generational player, this 50-year-old Viking fan knows only dread from Manny. Hey man, you just got good news. Your quarterback has no structural damage; it's just a bruise. The red, well, I can't call it. The red rifle is just got Carolina a win. What do we call Sam Darnold? Does he have a moniker, Cons?
I don't know if he ever got one.
Well, maybe they should get him one. So either way, they're off to, obviously can't get to a better start than what they're off to. So the fact that they dodged that bullet, because I was like, are you kidding me? They finally are playing well. He's in a role, and then boom, he gets injured like that. That would have sucked. So good for him. Hey, Gregor, when do you think the Oilers will make some cuts? Oh, I could see them having a few cuts tomorrow. And then they'll keep some guys around. I think they'll make some cuts, I would guess, tomorrow, because there's 5 preseason games left. Then I think another round of cuts would come after their 2 home games. They're not going to bring that many guys on the road, maybe 28, maybe. I don't know the exact number, but I'm guessing 28, maybe even fewer than that. And then they'll go for their final 2 road games into Seattle and Vancouver. And then you can make the final cuts then. That's what I would see. Now, Gregor, how many preseason games do you think Draisaitl and McDavid will play? Well, if I'm looking at the tea leaves, I'll say 4. They're both playing tonight. They're not going to play Wednesday. So then they would play 3 of the final 4. I think they play 1 of the home games and maybe both on the road. That would be my guess. So we'll see. I'll call it an educated guess. Just, looking at things, talking to people, what the players want. That's what I would guess, right? Everybody's going on that road trip. I think if they're on there, they want to play. So that's why I'm saying both road games. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I see happening. So Hey, boys. The Elks conversation was quite interesting for me. I never really thought about the fact that it's not just about the playoffs. I want the team to make the playoffs, but maybe there's a bigger picture at hand. Do you think the organization views it that way? Well, we'll find out tomorrow, Sam. I think it's the Trey Ford. I'm stunned. Trey Ford can't pass. He's completed 71% of his passes. What are you talking about? He's thrown 3 interceptions, and one of them wasn't his fault. It bounced right off his receiver's hands up in the air. How's that his fault? It's not a bad throw. So, yeah, I don't have nearly as much of a passing issue. Trey Ford had a tough game against the best defense in the league. As a young quarterback, oh, my God, he's brutal. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous overreaction to Trey Ford. Let him learn. I'd throw him right back out there. It's okay to fail and get back up. We talked about that earlier. So, yeah, I'm going Trey Ford for sure. On behalf of Connor Halley and Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves an awesome day. Let's get to the comment on the Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Kids Sports 6th Annual Jason Gregor Pizza Pigout. If you like pizza, the best in Edmonton and area comes together October 24th. Tickets are going fast. Get them now. JasonGregorPizzaPigout.com. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Got split squad action tonight in the NHL. Oilers and Flames meeting at the Ice District and at the Saddledome. Both those games will get going about 7 o'clock. Minnesota Wild forward Matt Boldy listed as week to week with a lower body injury. That puts his status for the season opener in jeopardy on October 10th. In the NFL, 2 games tonight. Right now, the Bills leading the Jags 6-0 midway through the first quarter. Bills are driving at the Commanders and the Bengals meeting in Cincinnati in about 20 minutes time. Major League Baseball. Jays right now trail the Red Sox 2-0 midway through the third, and the Phillies up on the Cubs 4-0 in the bottom of the fifth. Later tonight, the Mariners taking on the Astros and the Diamondbacks hosting the San Francisco Giants. Four-time All-Star Charlie Blackmon announced his retirement from the majors. Spent all 14 years playing with the Rockies. And the Edmonton Elks have released American defensive back Leon O'Neal Jr. The 25-year-old joined the team this past offseason and was named the team's starting Sam linebacker. He was ejected from Saturday's game versus Winnipeg for throwing a punch. And the Canadian Hockey League announcing today that 5 Western Hockey League clubs have applied to try and host the 2026 Memorial Cup. The Wheat Kings, Rockets, Hurricanes, Tigers, and Spokane Chiefs. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we got Fox Sports Radio. The boys are back 7 a.m. Kevin Carius, Brandon Douglas on the Kevin Carius Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.